Welcome to Rutgers Pro Day at Piscataway, New Jersey, the fourth year that we're presenting this big event for you on our vision. And it should be a spectacular day on the banks of the old Raritan. Hi everybody, I'm Bruce Beck. Welcome to Rutgers Pro Day, an opportunity for so many young players to have their dreams fulfilled. It's an opportunity to perform on a grand stage in front of 32 NFL teams. There are scouts here all over the place, and they're looking at players, some who went to the combine, some who do not. This is a big opportunity for them to show these scouts and show these teams what they're made of, and hopefully they'll end up in the NFL draft next month. So we're excited to be sharing this with you for the fourth year, and over the next 2 hours we'll talk to head coach Kyle Flood, we'll talk to numerous former Scarlet Knight greats, and we'll show you some of the workouts by the Rutgers players who are thinking of the NFL, and it is a big day for them. And we'll open things up here before we get to the individual competition by welcoming in Super Bowl champion Ray Rice, who took part in this pro day back in his day and also was a part of the NFL Combine. First of all, Ray, congratulations on being a Super Bowl champion.
Oh, thanks, man. It's been a heck of a ride, and obviously, like you said, don't come around often, and I just remember sitting in these same seats and, coming out here performing, and, 5 years later in the NFL, going into my 6th year, and get to say I'm a Super Bowl champion.
So Ray, first of all, let's get an idea. What do you think these young men are going through today in terms of the nerves, in terms of the butterflies, in terms of trying to get ready for showing these NFL people what they're made of?
Nerves and butterflies are good as long as you turn them into performance. If you let them get the best of you, then that's what the NFL is looking for. They're looking for your best performance, but they're also looking for a weakness. And anytime a scout or anybody finds a weaknesses, they're going to tell you where you're bad at first. And Rutgers, we just always had the kind of knack of, showing out on top. And we have a lot of guys besides myself playing NFL football, not just playing, but stars in the NFL. And, they came from here and they had to do the same thing we did as well.
There were questions about you coming out of college. Were you big enough? Were you fast enough? And it's not always about all of those qualitative numbers, is it? It's about what's inside of you. It's about what you can do in a football field. But you do have to perform in some way here today.
Yeah, you do have to perform. This is definitely a test, but it's a show-out test. You go out there and you're confident, you'll do the right thing, and you'll be fine. But overall, a question that you have to ask is, can you play football? And if you really can play football, trust me, it'll show out on this field, it'll show out at your pro day, and it'll show out on Sundays when you get a chance to get your opportunity.
And we knew Ray could play at Rutgers. He ended up with 4,926 yards rushing, 49 rushing touchdowns. He had 1,794 yards in 2006. Some people say you're the most important individual player in the history of this program. Is that humbling?
It's very humbling. One thing I said when I decided to come to Rutgers is that I wanted, when I was able to leave and accomplish everything that I wanted to accomplish, I wanted my name to be always attached to Rutgers University, and to be amongst one of the greats at Rutgers University is special, because now, good is the enemy of becoming great. I was great at Rutgers, now I'm good in the NFL, and I'm on my way to trying to become something great. But having my name always attached to this place is definitely, one of the most special things that's ever happened to me.
And what did Rutgers mean to you in terms of your development as a human being, not just a football player?
Yeah, it's one of them simple sayings. Coach Ciano was our coach at the time, but I was, mentored under Coach Flood as well. Simple saying, you come in as a boy and you leave as a man. And not everybody makes it to the NFL, but the guys who do make it always come back and understand what it was all about. And it's even greater coming back when you see the guys who got their degrees and they're working out in the business world, and we all just get to come back and we're just one big family. So Rutgers just definitely sets you up for life after football as well.
The question is, has life changed now that you've got a Super Bowl ring? I don't think it's changed. I think it's nice, but I don't think it's changed you. You're still talking about Neuro. You're still talking about the community. You're still talking about giving back to Rutgers. So Ray Rice, as we know him, is still the same, but is it cool?
It's definitely cool. Going back on last year, just thinking about, after we lost to the Patriots, a week later I had my daughter. So actually this year life is
What a year!
Life has been very humbling because, that extra responsibility of being a father is definitely a humbling experience, because you put the Super Bowl aside, you put the confetti down. My daughter has no clue what's going on, and all she knows is, her dad has to take care of her. So that's the most humbling feeling of, winning the Super Bowl, is that, I got to enjoy every moment with my family.
Thoughts on Rutgers going to the Big Ten, and would you have liked that opportunity?
I would have loved to play in the Big Ten. But if we would have played in the Big Ten, I'm guaranteeing you the national championship would have been won already by Rutgers.
How important is it going forward for this program?
It's very important. I think recruiting, everything changes now, because you got to have a certain, kind of player, and we have them guys here. We're just going to mold this program and make it even better, because you can't do what we did and not go to the national championship. We went 11-2 one year and played in, what was it?
The Texas Bowl? I remember that. You were wearing that 10-gallon hat.
I'm not taking it for granted. Bowl games were great. That's where, started the foundation. But we go 11-2 now, you might be fighting for a chance for the national championship. And that's what we all want around here.
All right, so Ray, what is your message to these guys today that are getting ready to compete in Pro Day?
You know what? This is a showcase, man. For every guy. If you don't believe that the scouts are here to watch you individually, then you're already lost. This is your show, your Pro Day. Make the best of it. And
after Pro Day, the training doesn't stop.
Nah, that's got to stay in better shape.
Yeah, think about all the stuff that you did to improve your speed, to improve your strength. This is a 12-month-a-year process, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a job. When you think about jobs, you might get, 4 weeks off for vacation? That's about it.
Not a bad job, though.
Not a bad job, but hey, very high-paying job that takes care of a lot of things. But with blessings come responsibility.
Sounds good. Finally, give you a chance to look in the camera and talk to the Rutgers fans who have been unbelievably supportive throughout your career.
To the Rutgers fans, you are truly family. I thank you for allowing me to allow my family to become part of our family, the R family. And it's truly special to be one of the guys who came out of here, who made this place a very memorable place. And it feels good to always know that I'll be welcome back, and this has always be home for me.
Two-time All-Pro, three-time Pro Bowler, Ray Rice, and he never forgets his roots, whether it's New Rochelle or Rutgers. You're now a Super Bowl champion. You'll always have that ring. You've got a daughter. You'll always have that beautiful daughter. Yeah. We wish you much success, Ray, and thanks for sharing this day. It wouldn't be the same if you weren't here in the bubble with us.
Nah, man, that's what I'm trying to tell you. The bubble never gets old, man. This is a great place. Look at this place. It's a lot different from when I was here. All I like to ask is to keep updated with my sweatsuits. I'm all right.
We'll keep sending you stuff. We'll make sure that Ray stays up on the freshest and newest material. Thanks, my friend.
Thanks, Bruce.
See you soon. All right, the R family. Ray talked about it just a couple of moments ago. Here's a closer look at what it means.
I knew you'd enjoy the touchdown. Huh? I knew you'd enjoy the touchdown to the tight end.
Love the tight end.
Great to have you here.
We love it. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. A great day only gets better when you have one of your own come back. And we're very fortunate here at Rutgers. Over the last 11 years, there have been a lot of great players who've gone on to do great things in the NFL, and they're around you every day. But we got one of them came back to see us today, so let's give a warm welcome to one of our own here, Sean O'Hara. I don't mean to put you on the spot. I'd love for you to tell these guys how you feel about it.
I'm proud of you guys. Just know that everybody that played before you, all right, we got your back. All right, we're proud of you guys. We're supporting you guys. We're proud of you as men. All right, don't think it's just about football.
All right, man, here we go, open it up. Come on in here, Sean. Here we go, man. Family on three. 1, 2, 3. One of the most exciting things for me being the head coach was seeing how many of our former players from the last 7 years are back in our building working out.
It's always good coming back to Rutgers. We got guys come back, we get to work out. It's almost like being back in college, working out, cracking jokes, just kind of reminiscing. So it's always a good time to come back.
It's always good to get, work with the younger guys coming up through the program and see where they're at.
Jamal Westerman here almost every day. Jeremy Zutan, Howard Barbieri, just today I saw them working out downstairs. The McCourty brothers have been here. Taekwon Underwood's been here. Brian Leonard and Kevin Mallist are staples of what goes on here. Ray Rice being back for the Pro Day and Courtney Green. Seeing all these players come back, it speaks to what we say to them when they're here as players. When you're a Rutgers football player, you're a Rutgers football player for life. You don't take the family band off when you leave our program. We want you to keep it on. And we certainly reach out to them and they certainly reach back to us.
There's always guys that come back, the McCourty twins, all those guys that always come back here. And it's good to see guys like that. You know, they're where, you know, I want to be in the NFL. Of course, that's my dream. And, you know, to see them come back and see what it takes to make it to that level is a good feeling.
Rutgers will hurry to the line. Here's Nova to throw. Looking right. Throws for the end zone. Yes! Touchdown! Brandon Coleman wide open.
These are the guys who wore the same uniform as me, played the same opponents as me, you know, played on the same field, practiced, sat in the same seats as me, and did everything right, and, you know, got to the level that they are through Rutgers.
Whitmer to throw. Intercepted over the middle. It is picked off by Kasim Green.
Even the guys that we didn't know, when they come back here, it's kind of surprising to me. When they come in the locker room, they'll say, "What's up, Club?" Like, "Oh, you know me?" So I think it's a strong family. They follow us the same way that we follow them.
If you leave, you're an NFL player. If you're not an NFL player, you come back here, the doors are always open.
It's my family, you know. I'm part of you know, what we built here, and I feel like, you know, I can continue to contribute to where the program is going.
I think the way that the coaches make it feel here is why everybody else feels like it's a family, because I mean it starts at the top and goes down to the bottom.
I feel like when you come back here, you always feel you're at home. For me, I get to come back and show the appreciation for the effort and the time that people put into me when I was here. Is a big reason I think that I'm where I'm at now.
Yeah, I felt like his nagging little brother. I was always by his side trying to ask him questions about this, ask him questions like that, but he always answered. He always stayed patient with me, and he was happy to pass on knowledge.
The thing is about this program that everybody feels part of the team, and that's what it's about.
You know, just to see those guys have success on that level just makes me feel good and keeps me motivated to do what I have to do to one day, you know, play on the same fields as those guys.
He's going down. Sack lost the football. It's loose.
The order of events here at Pro Day today: vertical jump and broad jump, they're run concurrently. Then there's the 40-yard dash, and there's a lot of interest in regard to the 40-yard dash. Then the 20-yard shuttle, followed by the 3-cone drill, the 60-yard shuttle, and then there's position workouts where each of the players get to be worked out by the scouts accordingly. We've got 17 Rutgers players here. 6 that went to the combine, so this is their own combine. And we welcome in now Anthony Fusilli, who is the sideline reporter for Rutgers football during the radio broadcasts and does such a great job covering New Jersey football and Rutgers in general. Fooch, good to have you with us.
I want to get one thing out of the way. First of all, it's great to be with you.
Yes, sir.
Any truth to the rumor that after this, Bruce Beck will run the 40 for us at the end of this broadcast? Any truth?
No truth. I mean, maybe a few years ago, but now with the lower back problems and the concerns about the hip, it's just not worth it.
Ah, okay. Thought maybe we could get you out there with a suit on.
Anthony, this is a day that these kids have really been looking forward to. One of the deepest group of Rutgers players we've ever seen here at Pro Day. And the fact that 6 guys went to the combine says where Rutgers is on the map.
No doubt. It's a special day for Rutgers, the program, and it's also a special day for these kids who are, what I like to say, program changers. They've come to Rutgers, they took a chance, and they actually made their mark at this program. And just to show you where this program is, when you have the amount of scouts here today, and college coaches, and pros coaches, just tells you they're coming to see not only guys who might make it to the NFL, but guys who are going to be drafted high into the NFL.
I think that when you talk about the individual names, you have to start with Kasim Green and Logan Ryan. Steve Boharness is in the mix as well. Those 3 guys all went to the combine. But let's start with Kasim for a moment and how he evolved from a safety to a linebacker, being one of the premier players in the nation.
It was maybe the greatest thing that ever happened to him. When they changed him from safety to linebacker, he's a guy who runs well. But let's face it, Green is a guy, when you turn the film on, just makes plays. He's a tackling machine, Bruce. And today, obviously, he just needs to run a nice time, but people know what he can do. Kas is a linebacker who's going to be very productive on the next level and is always around the football.
Logan Ryan, when we look at him, I think he might go the highest of all of these Rutgers players. Some people say it's Kasim Green, but Logan Ryan as a cornerback is definitely one of the best shutdown corners in the entire country.
Well, I'm going to throw a little change up at you here, okay? What I'm hearing from scouts is that Logan may wind up as a safety. And here's why. If you see what the Patriots have done with Devin McCourty and what the Giants have done with Antron Roll, you've got these corner guys who are cover guys, but they don't run maybe as fast at the corner position, but they run extremely fast for the safety position. So you put them at the safety because one thing we know about Logan, he's a good tackler. So you can put him at the safety position, free safety position. He can still cover, but he's not afraid to come up and make the tackle. So it'd be interesting to see on the next level. There are going to be teams that like Logan as a safety, and if he can run under 4.6 today, he will really help his stock.
Well, Logan Ryan at the 2013 NFL Combine ended up running a 4.5640. He believes he could do better than that. I don't think you can judge him by just that performance because he was second in the 3-cone drill of all the cornerbacks. He finished second in the 60-yard shuttle. So he did show some pretty good stuff at the Combine.
And Bruce, remember this, and it's something that people used to say about you and me, versatility. It's not a knock, it's a strength. And the fact that Logan can do safety and corner makes him extremely valuable for a defensive coordinator.
Another guy, Steve Boharness, who we saw was ferocious on a given Saturday, and at the Combine he also came up with some pretty good numbers, tied for third in that 3-cone drill, fourth in the 60-yard shuttle, but his 40 he'd like to improve. It was only 4.84.
Steve Boharness plays with a chip on his shoulder. He's a very productive player. I've had scouts tell me that they like his instincts, and that is a key word for a linebacker, a guy who doesn't waste time to find the ball carrier. So obviously he needs to do a better job here today, but they like what they see as far as being an instinctual football player, and if he gets a little bit of better time, it will improve his stock in the draft.
Well, we open things up with the vertical jump. That's where they are right now. They'll do the vertical jump and the broad jump at the same time, and then it's the 40-yard dash. I know you'll be out there catching those guys, seeing if they blow by you with ease or not. Then we've got the 20-yard shuttle, the 3-cone drill, and the 60-yard shuttle opening up here with the vertical jump. And this is all about lower body explosion and power. The athlete stands flat-footed and they measure his reach, and the difference between the reach and the flag the athlete touches is his vertical jump measurement. You consider this important for a wide receiver? I mean, we look at guys like Larry Fitzgerald. If the ball is thrown high in the air, is anybody going to out-jump him for the football? No.
Absolutely not. When you talk about some of these drills today, I always think about the great George Young, who you covered with the Giants, and he said, today is a day where everyone looks like Tarzan, but you hope they don't play like Jane. And, a lot of times you want to come out here, you're going to just look at a guy just to make sure that he's an athlete, but you can't forget what he's done on the football field. And I'm going to give you a couple sleepers today. Tim Wright is a guy who can really improve himself
today.
Always
a good athlete.
Good hands, and he could be, I'll give you a guy like a Marcus Colston type. A big body in the middle of the field. He's not a burner on the outside. He's not a tight end, but he's a big wide receiver. And he's a guy that teams are going to be very interested in. Now, on a higher level, Mark Harrison, because he's a bigger body and he ran a 4.47, is going to be an extremely interesting prospect for NFL teams also.
Here's a look at the vertical jump going on right now, the broad jump also going on, which really tests an athlete's lower body explosion and lower body strength.
Miss Rice just walks by. I always have to say hello to
Always great to see her. I mean, she's been great over the years supporting Ray. Let's go over to check out Marcus Cooper. This is the vertical jump. Now let's see how Mr. Cooper does. He got some oohs and ahs. He made a very good jump, a good response. He played in all 13 games this year as a defensive back. He was the winner of the Swarm and Finish Award at the RU banquet, given to player who exemplifies the type of consistent effort and the intensity in best representing that mantra.
This is going to be a drill that is very good for Marcus Cooper. He's a big corner, Bruce. He's a special teams player. That's where he'll make his mark on the next level. But defensive coordinators will love his height at the cornerback position.
All right, let's take a look at some of the bench press results from earlier today. And the asterisk is what indicates what happened at the NFL Combine. So look at Steve Boharness. He had 19. Marvin Booker.
No surprise there.
36 for Booker.
I mean, you shouldn't be surprised with Book. The guy's built like a brick house. He is just Adonis. But, you know, Booker is a strong guy, and I don't think there's any surprise with 36 for that guy.
Khalil Glaude, 25. And remember, this is 225 pounds. We're looking at the total reps at 225. And you can see Deron Harmon, Mark Harrison. Harrison's going to do better in the drills that accentuate speed. Mason Robinson doing nicely, Fooch, with 23.
Absolutely. Another guy who's very strong, great athlete. And obviously, D.C. Jefferson was injured. He injured his pectoral muscle at the combine. That's why you only see the 3 there.
So D.C. is going to do everything today except the bench press. He hurt his pec over at the combine, didn't participate in any of the other drills after only doing 3 at the bench press.
And you know, it's funny. You see some of these Rutgers athletes, these football players come back. We haven't seen them in a month. And the one thing you notice, how they've all put on some size. They look like they're bigger and stronger than they were since we saw them in Orlando.
So the broad jump is going on also. And what's interesting about the way this whole thing works is you've got the scouts and the NFL representatives right next to you. You know, there's Khalil Glaude getting set to do his thing. And you know that other fellow
That's
there.
Chris Sims, working for the Patriots now.
That's great seeing Chris Sims, part of the great Sims family. Of course, Phil, the best commentator, I think, or certainly one of the 2 best commentators at all of the NFL.
His
I've
son
got to
Matt,
stick with my own guys too. Chris Collinsworth, so that's I can't go too off to the side there, right?
and his son Matt threw here last year, and his brother Matt. And today we have a special guest throwing here at Rutgers. It's the all-time leading passer in Rutgers football history. Mike Teal will be here throwing passes.
Awesome. We love the Sims family. So 36 inches for Bo Harness on the vertical, 35 for Marvin Booker, and 39.5 for Marcus Cooper. That's impressive. That's why people were oohing and eyeing. I'm looking at some of the numbers from the combine.
There's Glaude.
And Mark Harrison did 38.5 in the vertical jump, which was 4th among wide receivers at the combine. So a good showing there. You never know what's going to happen in terms of somebody who is more athletic than we think or stronger than we think and kind of makes a name for himself.
Well, you know as well as anybody, Bruce, with the way the wide receivers are being drafted today, these big wide receivers, you need a defensive back who can match up against them physically. And as you said, Larry Fitzgerald jumping out of a gym. Well, Cooper, you know, he's the kind of guy that you need a big body against maybe to have any chance. If Cooper runs a good time, he's really going to help him today.
And the fact that Rutgers was admitted to the Big Ten on November 20th and comes off a share of the Big East title, you know, a lot of good things are happening here on campus. And in terms of the Rutgers community, Khalil Glaude, as you see right there, doing the vertical jump.
And Glaude's a very good athlete, too. He's another guy who could help a team on special teams right away with his athleticism, and he packs a punch, as you know. When he hits you, you know it.
And the thing about Khalil is, you know, 39 tackles this year, 4 for loss, appeared in every game.
This is a very interesting...
and that's a former Rutgers player, Al Ghafarlane. And, you know, one of the things that Rutgers, Greg Schiano started this, and now Kyle Flood does it as well. If you played here and you ended up going somewhere else, you're invited back to take part in Pro Day, which gives you a chance to show your wares.
It's a great job done by Kyle Flood allowing that to continue.
So here's Kasim Green, who had a strong performance at the combine.
And if you notice, Kasim also has put on some bulk. You know, obviously you said he went from safety to linebacker, and he had to kind of grow a little into that position, and he had the athleticism and the speed, but you see he's starting to, now he looks like a linebacker. Now he looks like an NFL linebacker.
Because he started as a safety and had to come up. Now, he did well at the combine. He's being talked about as a late first, second round pick. He did 30 inches in his vertical jump at the combine, so this is a big opportunity for him to even go up 2 inches here would be important. He also did 9.8 in the broad jump, 4.71 in the 40. He's going to try to improve that today. 4.20 in the 20-yard shuttle, which was second among linebackers, so that was impressive. And he was third in the 60-yard shuttle among linebackers. So this is a big event for him. Let's see if he can go from 30 to 32 or 33, and that would make a huge difference. And again, a lot of this, Fooch, is technique.
Absolutely. You know, you train for stuff like this, so obviously you should get better at it. But there's 2 things today that they won't look at when you look at Kas Green, and they should. Character and leadership. and that's going to get him drafted, and that's going to get him to be a top player in the NFL. He brings that every game, character and leadership.
And if they measured his heart, that would be pretty big, don't you
Absolutely.
think?
Absolutely. That'll keep him in the NFL.
There's Cos Green from Elizabeth, New Jersey, who played 13 games this year, had 136 tackles, 12 for loss,
Back
6
to back.
sacks, 6 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions. He even led the nation in the forced fumbles. If you look at Ray Rice and Ben Resin, his agent, looking on, checking out the whole scene.
And how about Cos, back-to-back Big East Players of the Year? He has the injury his junior year in the Pinstripe Bowl. And not only does he get back for the next year, but he has a better year. That says a lot about him.
Here's Deron Harmon. You like this guy. He played 50 career games at Rutgers, started all 13 games this year at safety. Another very good athlete.
And even a better person as far as quality, kid, leader, character, a great student athlete, great representative of Rutgers football. And if he can have a strong day today, if I'm an NFL team, I definitely bring him in and to take a good long look at Deron Harmon as a safety.
By the way, Kasim Green went up 4.5 inches on the vertical from 30 to 34.5. That means he's working. And if I'm a scout, even if it's not as high as I want it to be, I'm seeing that he's working.
Right.
I'm seeing that he's improving.
Not satisfied. He's
That's
not
a very
resting on his
important
laurels.
sign.
Absolutely. He's a worker. Because let's face it, these guys are going to have to work hard at the next level.
Deron Harmon, first team All Big East at safety. He also earned the team Scholar Athlete Award at the RU banquet, and he gets a big round of applause from the guys rooting on the sides. That's a lot of his teammates and some of the Rutgers supporters. A 3-time Big East All-Academic Football Team member. That's important.
And, you know, of all the things that this guy has accomplished on the football field, I'm very impressed with what he's done in the classroom as he represents, obviously, Rutgers University, and also a tremendous piano player. Did you know
Really?
that? Oh, unbelievable.
So he tickles the ivories, huh?
Absolutely.
So that was a good performance by Deron Harmon as we jump back over to the
Looks like
broad
Khalil
jump.
Glaude.
And Glaude. He jumped 35.5 inches earlier on the vertical.
You know, today is a very busy day around the country for Pro Day, or I believe there would be standing room only in here. If it was one of those days where it was just Rutgers football, I think you'd have a line outside of scouts trying to get into this place today.
So Khalil Glaude won the Paul Robeson Award at the team banquet, which is given to the player whose performance, leadership, and dedication on and off the field had the greatest impact on Rutgers football. That's a nice award to win.
You want to talk about impact? Just ask Ryan Naismith about the hit that he took on a big play in that game here at Rutgers Stadium when Glaude found Naismith back to pass and brought him down very quickly.
Here's DC Jefferson, and again, he had trouble at the combine, was injured during the press, the bench press. Only did 3 reps, was hoping to obviously do well in all of the drills, but did not compete in any of the other ones. And here he is now starting things off. DC, who we've seen, he came into Rutgers as a quarterback, became a tight end. I still think his best days are ahead of him. I think he can grow into that position.
The one thing about DC that has amazed me is his blocking ability is really good for a former quarterback. He's actually, in my opinion, a strong blocker at the tight end position.
And if you see him in the open field, I mean, if he catches a pass that he's running at you at 6'6", 250,
yeah, he's a lumbering tight end.
You want to get out of the way.
A big target. But let's face it, if you're a tight end in the NFL and you want to play every down, you're going to have to be a good blocker, and he brings that to the table.
He had 20 grabs this past year for 168 yards. And now Brandon Jones getting set
now, this is
for the vertical.
Another sleeper of mine here. Jones is going to be an athlete, special teams demon, a guy who can play safety and corner. But the thing about Brandon Jones that excites scouts, he's always around the football, Bruce. Makes big plays.
And remember, he played his junior year with a stress fracture in his leg almost the entire season. So what does that say in terms of his determination? And you got to like his size for a defensive back. He had that big 14-yard interception return for a touchdown against Tulane, and he never stopped this year.
If you turn on the highlights or the tape of Brandon Jones, you don't go very far when you see him around the football. And that's a knack that great football players have.
Hey, he returned the block punt against Howard for a touchdown, always around the football.
Always around the ball. And that will get people excited. Because you know and I know, If you can't stop people, you might as well take it away from them.
He's from Winslow Township and Sicklerville, New Jersey. Winslow Township High School.
Very important.
Big Brandon Jones.
Very important recruiting area for Rutgers, that South Jersey area.
So a lot of high fives going on the sidelines as these guys move from one event to the next. Here's another chance for Brandon Jones, 3-time Big East Academic All football team member. Pretty good stuff you'll hear from a lot of these guys academically, because Rutgers, when it comes to academics, top 10 last 5 years for football programs.
Now you made a very important, let's see, Mr. Cooper here.
Marcus Cooper in the broad jump. You have to stick that landing. It has to be considered a clean landing. Cooper from Bloomfield, Connecticut. Great interception against UConn. Remember that play, leaping in the end zone?
Absolutely. You know, you made a comparison before about Brandon Jones, about how he came back from an injury late last year. How about this year? He gets hurt in the Louisville game and still makes it back for the bowl game. So it shows teams that this is a guy who's not afraid, you know, to play with a little pain.
And you can see the concentration that these guys are giving everything they have in these events, in these little drills. You know, that 1 extra inch might make a difference, or 1/10 of a second might make a difference. Mason Robinson getting ready. And another good jump by Mason, who's just such a superb athlete. We do have some news just moments ago. Mark Harrison injured his foot and will not compete today. And I really feel bad for him because, as you mentioned, he's such a specimen. He's got the big size for a wideout. He's got the speed. And, you know, he needs to prove some other things in terms of durability, toughness, and consistency.
It's a small little setback because Mark Harrison did his work at the Combine, had the best Combine, I'm being told, than any Rutgers football player. So, yes, it's a little setback, but however, he did a great job in the Combine, and teams have that, and they know, and they have his film.
His numbers were impressive for his position in 3 or 4 of his events.
No doubt about it. There's my guy, the heart and soul of that Rutgers defense, Scott Vallone from Long Island, St. Anthony's.
Who are we going to interview when we need a good soundbite from the defensive line without Vallone, who the last few years, as you mentioned, St. Anthony's and Central Islip, New York is where he's from. He was such a pro and a great guy to talk to.
Forget about the interviews. Who's going to take on those double teams to get the pressure off the linebackers?
And just to get back to those stats on Mark Harrison at the Combine, in terms of the vertical jump, he was 4th among wide receivers. The broad jump, 5th among wide receivers. In the 40-yard dash, 11th with a 4.46. He was 7th in the bench press, was 17 among wide receivers, and 9th in the 60-yard shuttle. So your point's well taken. Of all of the 7 events that he was involved in, including the bench press, he ranked in his category, in his position, 5 of those in the top 15.
Mark was brilliant in a big day at the Combine. When everyone's there and the lights are on, he performed very well. So obviously, that's going to help him on day 1 of the draft. And I believe you're going to see Mark Harrison's name called earlier rather than later on draft day because of it. He's another guy with an ability to go into the middle of the field, a big body, but he's not a tight end, and he's not an outside wide receiver. Those guys are valuable right now.
Here's a guy who was very valuable to Rutgers this year, second team free safety, Wayne Warren. He was involved in the nickel packages and the dime packages. He had a couple of interceptions. He was named Rutgers Special Teams MVP.
Another guy always around the football. Another guy who makes big plays, and you can't say anything more. If you're a young guy trying to make a living in the NFL, you can come in and help a special teams, help a unit in the NFL. He's a guy that you have to consider right here.
And we know coaches like, Tom Coughlin that love special teams guys. We know Greg Schiano.
Bill Belichick.
They're going to look for a guy who,
no doubt,
who can play, a position but also contribute on special teams. There's a good look at the broad jump continuing. The thing about Wayne Warren that I remember was that 25-yard TD on the interception return against UConn. You remember that play? How about that diving interception against South Florida?
You know, Warren, another former quarterback in high school, but an athlete comes here and has to sacrifice his career because really Rutgers had so many good players at his position that if he goes anywhere else probably in the country, he probably starts.
Is this one of your guys, Tim Wright, getting ready?
This is Tim, and I think that this is a very intriguing prospect right here, Timmy Wright.
Timmy's got good size, 6'4", 220. In high school, he played tailback, wide receiver, cornerback, and safety.
Brick, right?
At Wall High School, Wall Township. And he was a top 15 New Jersey recruit.
You ever shake his hand?
Yes.
He's got mitts.
He had 39 grabs with those mitts for 449 yards.
He's got mitts at the ends.
Yes. He was a team captain. He had that one-handed catch against Tulane. He does a lot of athletic things.
There have been people who have asked me about Tim Wright, and a tremendous kid, great character player, leader, a captain. He just has to show that he's more consistent, and that happens for a young player, and when he gets that consistency, he's going to make a team. Tim Wright is going to make a football team.
Oh, that's right. Remember that we did a feature on him being the barber.
That's right. He's the team barber, too. And that's going to be very valuable at the next level, too.
So
he'll be a popular guy in the locker room.
What?
And I don't know how Rutgers replaces him, by the way, because Kyle Flood got this barber chair, and it was like Tim Wright's a place of work. I don't know who now takes over that.
I have seen Tim Wright's barbershop. It's impressive, and right now that's why so many of these guys have not shaved or had their hair cut.
Like, you know how you pass the baton? Who does he pass the snips to? Where do the scissors go on Rutgers? Who takes over? That's a tough job.
36 inches for Tim Wright in the vertical. Well done.
He needs to have a good day today to solidify what some people think about him. And this is more important. And there's Kyle Flood, his second year. Doesn't he look a little bit more comfortable this year, second year? Yeah. More relaxed?
Yeah. He looks a lot cooler considering, you know, he was thrown into the fire. Right. Big East Coach of the Year. Did a marvelous job when you think about him. Taking over Greg Schiano, the program had, you know, evolved and had erupted essentially by leaps and bounds. Every kid that you talk to will talk about, even, you know, Ray Rice and Mike Teal and Brian Leonard, and all these guys will talk about the relationship they had with Kyle,
Davis.
even if he wasn't their position coach.
Yes.
Anthony was his position coach.
Right.
But these other guys, just the respect that they had for him, and when the change was made, you know, he got such support from the old guard as well as the regular guys, and I think that was because of the foundation he built. Hey, I can tell you that I was at high school fields watching games at Midwood High School, not far from that great pizza place that I can't think of the name of. And we used to send somebody to get the pizza. It's a famous place. It eluded my head for a minute.
We got a 2-hour broadcast. We'll get it.
Yeah, I'll get it in a minute. But the thing about it was he was there standing on the sidelines watching the PSAL high school championship games. He was out there. He made himself known in the community, and that's something you've got to build.
When he was named coach, there are two particular groups that were happy for him. You mentioned the alumni that played for him, and also high school coaches. They were extremely happy for Kyle Flood. He's got very good relationships at the high school level.
Cooper, 10 feet 9 inches. Marcus Cooper, 10 feet 9 inches. So that's impressive. Second best today was Deron Harmon, 10 feet 5 inches. Couple good showings there.
Very important for the other group that didn't work at the combine to come in here today. It's their first chance to make an impression. They have to have a strong day.
Yeah, so this is big for those guys. You talked about the Mark Harrisons that were already at the combine, but for many of 11 of these other athletes, you have to really say that this is the day that they've got to shine. So here's the vertical jump, the final numbers. Marcus Cooper, impressive at 39.5 inches. And Mark Harrison, who we said did not participate here, but had a great number at the combine. And look at Khalil Glaud's number. Look at Brandon Jones. And Mason Robinson, we know the speed demon he was in high school, 39 today.
The more important thing about Mason Robinson is his hands. Never dropped a punt. The guy is very steady back there, very dependable, and that'll get him a look somewhere.
Just to give you an indication of what was the best at the combine of the vertical jump, it was Christine Michael, the running back from Texas A&M, 43 inches. So these guys are pretty close. That 39 is only 4 away. Now Wayne Warren, And this is the broad jump. The best at the combine was Jamie Collins of Southern Miss, 11 feet 7 inches. That's a monster performance in the broad jump. Tough event because you don't have that running start. It's just plain explosion to see what you got. And you know what they say? This is a funny event. They say it shows how much time you put in the weight room over the years. I love that. It says, it's somebody who didn't cut corners.
You know, you talk about over the years. How about how this day has grown from when we used to come here in 2002 and 2003 to where it is now, as far as the athletes, the scouts, it's night and day.
Absolutely. When we walked in today, there was a huge line. There were people getting credentials. I saw one guy walking in, and they said, "Who are you with, or what are you doing?" He goes, "My name is Anthony Davis. I don't think I need a credential. I was a pretty good lineman for Rutgers. I now play for the San Francisco 49ers, and we went to the Super Bowl." They said, "Okay, come on through."
I wonder if Ray Rice and Anthony are speaking yet. You know, he's got a little bit of that hardware that I'm sure Anthony obviously wanted. But, you know, obviously they'll always be family and they'll always have that affection. But I'm sure losing that Super Bowl was tough for Anthony Davis. You know, Bubba, it's important to recognize also that the players that played here, that are in the NFL, that come back today, I think it also sends a message to these current Rutgers football players that are here watching and rooting on their teammates.
It really does. It just shows their commitment in the way that they are Rutgers family, and they stay involved with the program. Mason Robinson right now is tied for the second best broad jump, 10 feet 5 inches. Not surprising coming from him.
And let's give a shout out to Coach Cole of Rutgers, the strength and conditioning coach, because as really defined as these athletes look today, you know Coach Cole has been working them very hard this last month to get them ready for a day like today.
So here's Tim Wright, and pretty good. Like the way he stuck that landing. Maybe he should do some gymnastics work at the Olympics. So Tim Wright, who was a team captain this year, caught 8 balls against South Florida for 125 yards. 50 career catches for Tim. Other teams, I think he could have caught 100 balls. It depends where you play. And he was in a situation here where there was Harrison, and there was Karan Pratt.
And there was another situation.
And there was Coleman. There's so many guys.
Unfortunately,
there's only one guy who can throw a pass.
But unfortunately, he had some tough luck with injuries. But if he stays healthy, future's very bright.
There's no question. He had that bad year where, you know, he had some injuries and had to come back, but he was the most improved offensive player in spring drills in 2010.
No doubt about it.
And it shows his commitment. And he got his chance this year, and he made the most of it.
And you mentioned something before about D.C. Jefferson. I also believe about Tim Wright. His best football is definitely ahead of him.
He just needs that opportunity. And there are so many Rutgers players who have made the NFL through the free agent route, and that's what guys can't be afraid of today, because it's not just about that magical day in April when the NFL draft and Commissioner Roger Goodell goes to the podium. It's about what ensues in the weeks and months after that.
Can I bring up one word that's very key for these players? System. They've got to find the right system. And I believe sometimes at the end of the day and the end of the draft, some of them haven't been drafted. Rather than get down, it's kind of they've benefited because they've gone to the right system.
I thought you were going to use the word chop.
Chop also. But system is important for some of these players because, let's face it, if you can get into a defense or an offense that fits your qualities, you can make a team.
You want to go into the weight room?
No, those days are over.
Well, we're going to go into the weight room right now and take a look at what goes on in there with Coach Cole. And how he gets these guys
gets me fired up
to maximize every ounce that they have in their body to become the best, strongest, quickest player, athlete, football player around.
Go, fellas, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We're going to be strong. We're going to move. It's going to be just that simple. And it's going to be just that serious. Let's go. Shock the world is the mission that we're on, fellas. Expectations are high, standard is high, all right? You either rise or you fall. And guess what? We rise. Everybody understand that? Everybody understand that? What time is it? Where's up? Where's up? Well, we don't care about weight over here. We don't care about weight over here. Yeah, I got 225 on my back.
You got
What's up?
What's up? You got your trophy. Nigga, it's gonna be a Rutgers expert. You better talk to 75%.
I don't care about weight. We do big weight.
72, he already won.
Let him go. Read
72, he already won. Now stop, Cos.
I'm just like football. I ain't for everybody.
Intense. You know, you would describe Jeremy, if you were to describe him in one word, you would say the word would be intense. And there's other words you can use. You know, he certainly has conviction in what he believes in. And he is an up-tempo, high-motor guy, and I think you see that in our weight room when you go in there. Guys are moving from drill to drill. We're getting bigger, we're getting stronger, we're getting faster. Ultimately, that's how we judge it, and we're in better shape to play football today because Jeremy Cole's our strength coach.
Let's go, hurry up! Yeah, hurry up! Let's go, hurry up! Hurry up! Listen close. The weight last week we did it for 6 right here, right? 4 sets of 6. Let's do it for 8 today. Make sure you do your first 2 sets before you go up and weight. Great technique, palms facing, alternate each arm. All right, hold it at the top. Everybody got it. Before you go up and weight, first 2 sets. The last set's gonna get recorded. The last set's gonna get recorded. Let's go, let's go. Keep my eyes up. I ain't got nobody eyes get down. What can you do with your eyes down? You can't take a picture with your eyes down. You can't talk to a girl with your eyes down. What can you do with your eyes down? I ain't even mentioned football yet. We don't miss reps, we don't miss sets. 1 stand and 1 expectation. 1 stand and 1 expectation. Let's go. All right, let's go. Let's go. Get that back tight. Set that back. Set that back. Rock those wrists. Elbows in. Drive that weight up. Let's go. Come on. Here you go now.
Be aware of it.
Yup. 3, 4. Right in there. Right in there. Get it.
The guys are back there with 2 compound plates up. We're moving. Get your first weight set on there for clean high. Boy, everybody got it? Let's go. Let's go. It don't take all day. Let's go. Hurry up. It don't take all day. Let's go. One standard, 1 expectation. 1 standard, 1 expectation. Everybody got it, everybody understand. 1 standard, 1 expectation. We're on a mission. What's the mission? Shock the world. Plain and simple. Here we go, family. Here we go. Get where you gotta get to the meeting, get there, and be ready to go. Here we go. Family on 3. 1, 2, 3. Get out. Let's go, Chase, let's go. You lead them, they'll follow. You lead them, they'll follow. Let's go, Chase. Let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go, man, let's go. Thought you guys were buying a suit. How long you guys been back there for? It's chocolate, it's vanilla, strawberry. So you guys are buying a suit. How long you guys been back there for?
Rutgers Pro Day continues at the Bubble here in Piscataway. 17 Rutgers football players in front of 32 NFL teams trying to show the best stuff that they have. And you know, Rutgers has had a multitude of players who have gone the free agent route, who weren't selected by NFL teams. 38 signings in the last 10 years. One of them is the man to my right, Jamal Westerman. When you think about Jamal and Rutgers, 26 sacks in his career, 141 tackles, 2-time second-team All-Big East performer. Great to see you back, Jamal.
Good to be back, Bruce. I like to come. I think I've been to 10 pro days so far.
Wow.
Since 2004, so it's always good to come back and check the guys out and see how they're doing. And I mean, I'm excited for them.
Now this could be real breaking news because Jamal is a free agent right now in the NFL. So any team that comes calling, they've got to talk to us first, right?
Talk to you first. I'll let you handle everything.
Are you excited about the prospects here?
I'm definitely excited. I mean, this year, you know, because last year I was coming off the groin injury, so it's kind of hampered me a little bit. But I'm excited coming off the season, being healthy, and just excited to go to a new team and see what happens. And you never know where you'll end up, and that's the thing with free agency. You kind of wait to see what happens, and then always have your eyes open and your options open.
And Jet fans love you. And Coach Ryan, I remember what he said to me the day I asked him about you. I was doing a feature. He said, one of the most intelligent football players I've ever coached. That's high praise.
Definitely great praise from him being such a great defensive coach, you know, and that's one of the things I try to bring, my intelligence. And I think that's one thing that a lot of Rutgers guys bring. You know, you heard that about E. Foster when he come, even Brandon Reinhardt, Jeremy Zuta, who's played all the positions on the offensive line. Guys are very, very intelligent, guys are hard workers. And I think that's one of the things that, you know, we pride the program on. I like to see it keep continuing.
Well, Jamal, you know, as I mentioned, this undrafted free agent stuff, it might be a little bit, you know, hard to handle the day that it's happening, but a lot of guys go this route, and a lot of guys have to find their way into the NFL by working their way and being selected, you know, or being picked up later. And you did that. Was it hard? Was it frustrating?
Well, I like to say I was the first pick of the 8th round for the Jets when I came out. You know, even though there aren't 8 rounds, but I mean, it's definitely a little difficult.
That's good. I like that. I'm going to use that. I started to worry for a minute, saying, "Did I miss that round?"
or a guy that was just around, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's always difficult because you expect to be drafted. You wait the last couple of days, you know, the last couple of hours to see what teams are picking, and then when you don't get picked, it's kind of sad. But then you're also now my options are open to all the teams, so you kind of look for the best fit that fits you now. So it's not more the team picking you. It's kind of, you can kind of pick the team a little bit. So it kind of gives guys options to see which teams they want to go to, what schemes they fit better, which teams they have a chance.
And you're still doing that.
Oh, definitely. I think every year, you know, if you're not signed to a team, you look for who fits you best and where can you make the team and really help the team, you know, get better and win. And that's one of the things I think guys look for. You want to go to a good team, a good organization where you can go in, not only be productive but be successful also.
What's your message to the guys who are out here today who are trying to put on a pretty good show for these scouts?
I talk to all the guys that just enjoy it, relax. You've trained hard, you know, all throughout this process, and that's one of the things. If you know you've trained hard, you worked hard, you come out here and just do what you do. Your tape is already out there. You train hard. Now you give them the best you can give them. You might have some workouts coming up with different scouts, you know, flying into different teams and teams coming to you, and then just enjoy it because you can't. If you put all you can into it, then you can't be, you know, mad at the outcome.
When I look back at your last season, you were with a number of different teams, but you ended up with Indy. And what a story last year with Chuck Strong and Bruce Arians, and you guys just overachieved and ended up, you know, maybe going to the Super Bowl for all we knew. It was one of those crazy years, but making the playoffs was such an achievement with such a young quarterback.
I definitely think, you know, in the league nowadays that any year can be any team's year. You know, I mean, so with free agency and with guys coming in, you might be one player away. I mean, look at, you know, Indy last year. I mean, I think they were 32 power ranking going into the season. They ended up in the playoffs.
They were 2-14.
I know. And then even look at Seattle. You know, they got a young dynamic quarterback, and look how that helped them so much. You know, now they're making moves, looking at it's their time to make a push. So I think any year really can be any team's year, depending on who you get and kind of how you approach the season and what kind of. For the ball, you know, it's oblong. It goes different ways, and if it bounces your way, you know, you end up in the playoffs. You know, you end up in the Super Bowl.
Hey Jamal, you're a Brooklyn guy, but you're also Brampton, Ontario. I've known your bio for so many years. I enjoyed covering you with the Jets. What would you like to say about the Rutgers experience and what it meant to you?
I meant a lot. I mean, I think, everybody that comes to Rutgers is a special bond that we have, that just being in this area, I mean, because you're fighting with all the pro teams and everything like that to kind of get the love. But, I mean, the fans here are great. The experience here is great. I mean, you can go to New York, everybody, no matter who you are, you come through Rutgers, you're going to go to New York one time. You're going to go down to the shore. There's so many places to go. And just the coaching staff, it's always been great since I've been here. And even the fans around the area, Piscataway, New Brunswick area, I mean, it's always been fun. And, I'm excited to see the program go and just keep getting bigger and better. So I'm very excited for them.
All right, here comes the 40. That's a lot of fun. I know you want to get out there and check these guys. That's always a pleasure to see you, Jamal. And I hope you end up maybe with the Giants.
You never know. You never know. Appreciate it, Bruce.
The 40 is coming up next on Rutgers Pro Day Live. Don't go away. Welcome back to Rutgers Pro Day as we continue bringing you all the events of the day. We started with the vertical jump and the broad jump, and now comes the marquee event of Rutgers Pro Day. It's also the marquee event of the NFL Combine. It's the 40-yard dash. The fastest time at the Combine, Marquise Goodwin of Texas, a wide receiver, 4.27. Now, we're not going to see that kind of time today. Bruce Beck along with Anthony Facili, but we will see some pretty good times, and Logan Ryan will not be participating in this one because he's going with his time at the Combine, which was impressive, 4.56. He's happy with that. But Koss Green, who had a 4.71, which was 10th among linebackers, he's trying to improve that number. Steve Boharness at a 4.84 at the Combine. He'd like to do better. Also, Jawan Jamison, very important event for him, 4.68 seconds at the Combine. He'd like to improve that. Mark Harrison is not competing here. He had a 4.46, which was brilliant at the Combine.
I just saw Mark.
DC Jefferson is going to run because he was injured, as we know, at the Combine.
Mark's, his spirit's a little bit down, but he knows that he put his work in, and he knows that, he passed a big test at the Combine.
You backed him up nicely.
And he said, hey, thank you. I know what I did. I'd like to show it again, that it wasn't just a flash in the pan. I like that, that spirit and that attitude, but I think Mark's going to be all right.
No Scott Falone, a little bit of a hamstring tweak, so we don't really pay to watch him run.
No, we don't. We don't pay to watch him run a 40.
We like to watch him perform in the trenches and in the post-game interviews.
Absolutely. Scott Falone put some weight on. Going to be a very interesting prospect in a 4-3 system, kind of like what the Cowboys run now under Kiffin. He is that kind of defensive tackle. A little undersized, but can move. Greg Schiano's defense, Dallas's defense. Those are the kind of teams that would be great places for Scott Falone. And I believe with his motor, he's going to get some serious looks.
Now, the interesting thing about the 40, Tom Coughlin, the Giants head coach, in the 40 at the Combine, sits at the 10-yard line. 10 yards from the start. He knows he's going to get all of the numbers at the end from the 40. He doesn't need to run the stopwatch himself there. He wants to know how good a player is in those 10 yards. He goes, that's all that really matters. So everybody's got their different systems.
He's won 2 Super Bowls in 5 years. He's doing something right.
He sits there with the watch and with the pad, and he makes notes of what guys do, like all the talk about Teo and how's he going to do.
Right.
He was only interested in the first 10, which is not something that's going to be timed here, the first 10. It's going to be 40.
Right.
But it's an interesting philosophy where coaches think on this stuff, like,
because
how
he has
important
to
is
be
this?
great and explosive in 10 yards. Now, someone like Logan Ryan or a wide receiver, a different story. But in 10 yards, for those linebackers, tight ends, obviously a defensive tackle, those are the area where you want to see the burst.
Hey, you've talked to a lot of these guys over the past few weeks. Are they working in this event? Have they been training? Are they talking to track coaches?
Absolutely. The agents get them into a system. Coach Cole here at Rutgers gets them ready for it. They train specifically. It's funny. All year long you train for football. And then once that's over, now you train for this Combine. You train for gymnastics.
Just about ready to start. And again, all the attention is going to be focused here on the 40. You've got the scouts, straddling that line, the hash mark. You've got your teammates there. You've got your friends. Some people have their family. I mean, this is a pressure-packed event.
Let's go back to last year. We were doing this last year, and the big one last year was Mohamed Sanu. And Mohamed came out strong, ran a good time, and
he's still running.
nearly got into the second round. I thought he fell a little bit. He went to the third, and Cincinnati was loving the decision to get him there. But obviously, it was a big day for Muhammad to show that he could run a big time.
So this is Steve Boharnis, I think, who will lead us off. And this is the 40.
And this is a guy, obviously, first 10 yards.
2 chances today. Boharnis is out there, and Steve's got to pick up his time from the combine. He's one guy that needs to improve. As I mentioned earlier, his time was 4.84. It looked like he had a pretty good run there.
Really looked like it might have helped him there. You know, one word or a phrase to kind of describe Boharnis: old school. He's an old school football player, linebacker. You know, he's never happy. He's snarly. He wants to hit people, but very bright on the football field.
By the way, athletes are timed at the 10, 20, and 40, but the 40 is the number that we're actually going to give you today. And as we mentioned, Coach Coughlin, some other coaches like to think about just the 10. Some think about the 20, but it's really the 40 time that's going to be measured the most over the next few weeks. All right, Marvin Booker.
Well, he showed he's got the strength. Now he's got to show he's got the speed. This would be an interesting run for him.
Out of Piscataway, New Jersey, Marvin Booker, 6'2", 240.
Rutgers defense, obviously a little bit of a blow when he went down, but was able to come back healthy and had a good year.
And look at Booker accelerating in front of all of the
how about that guy running down on kickoffs?
Onlookers, what?
How about that guy running down on kickoffs?
I'd like it.
Me too. If that speed coming down at you, I know where I'm going. I'm going to the sideline.
4.69 for Marvin.
Very
so
good.
Not bad.
That's a good time for him, for a strong kid to move that fast. Helped himself.
Moved to defensive end in 2011 during preseason camp, and really has never left. Marcus Cooper is up next.
There's another very important run for Marcus Cooper if he wants to move up into that draft.
I think we're looking at him as a cornerback.
Yes.
And look at Cooper run. I mean, you could just see it in his stride, very, very smooth.
You're looking at these guys as special teams players on the next level, and then obviously a cornerback.
4.43, Fooch. That's a very good time for
4.43.
Cooper.
That's eye-opening. Yeah. If that's an official, is that official Jason Baum time
No,
right
that's
there?
an official here at the Rutgers Pro Day. He gets credit for that.
Okay.
All right, up next, R.J. Dill, offensive lineman from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania.
Big fella.
The big transfer for the University of Maryland. We're not looking for a time like the last one we saw, but just something respectable would be good.
You know, they want to see R.J. Dill and how he moves. He's a mauler, big offensive lineman, a tackle. They know that. They just want to see that he has some athleticism.
5.33 for R.J. He was invited to play in the East-West Shrine game, started all 13 games, was an all-Big East team member. Justin Dorner will not run the punters, so Khalil Glaude
That's smart.
gets up in the gates. Well, only if it's a bad snap. Glaude with 39 tackles this year, 86 career tackles, appeared in all 13 games for the Scarlet Knights.
Another
One
good
of those guys who
athlete.
could do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, another good athlete who needs to show a good time here.
He played well in the Russell Athletic Bowl at 5 tackles. Now, you saw Khalil leaning forward a little bit early. I know you want to do that when you hit the tape.
Right.
When you look at
I think he
Olympic
got
running, he might have left his posture a little
Yes,
too
it looked like
early.
he wants another run, I think.
4.72 for Khalil, not bad.
But I think he can do better.
And here comes Kasim Green. And this is an important one for Kasim, who was 4.71.
Yeah, this is the one the scouts are watching right now. Again, his body of work has been done. Good combine, great season. This just adds to it right now.
Boharnis did 4.60, so a big improvement for Boharnis.
That's going to help
went from 4.84 to 4.60. Now Kasim Green, it was 4.71, 10th among linebackers at the combine, and now Kos getting a real chance to move up. He's being projected as 25th to 50th overall in this draft. First or second round, basically.
This will help him.
Good start. Good clean start. He's no Usain Bolt, but I think he looked pretty good there.
He packs a bigger bolt, though. Very hard hitter.
He weighed in at 241 at the combine,
That's
up from
amazing.
230 from the original Rutgers scouting
and
report
how about
for the
his
year.
philosophy of gaining weight but not losing speed?
4.61 for Kasim Green, so down
Excellent.
a full tenth of a second
Excellent.
for 4.71. He may not run a second try here.
But how about that, Bruce? You know, he gains weight and keeps his speed. You and I gain weight, we lose our speed.
Yes, I've been losing speed over the years. Deron Harmon is next out of Magnolia, Delaware. Started all 13 games at safety. He should run well. Now, you can see different strides. That wasn't picture perfect in terms of, looking at smoothness and symmetry.
He needs a good time here.
But he's fast anyway. I don't think it matters much with Deron Harmon.
But it always helps for a defensive back to get the best time as possible.
4.45.
Very respectable.
Very good. 4.45 for a safety. That's good.
And one who packs a big punch like he does, that's very good.
So Mark Harrison will not run here. Big DC Jefferson's got a big one coming up, and here comes Jawan Jamison.
Jawan has to show that, he can actually get to the outside and take it the distance. He needs to show teams he has speed, not just quickness and balance.
And you can see his speed. Look at him working here. Jawan is, I think, quicker than fast.
No doubt about it.
And that's more important, I think, at the running back position. He's small. Remember, he's only 5'8".
He's compact. He's compact. We like to use that word.
By the way, Harmon's time would have been third at that position at the combine. 4.64 for Jamison, so that's a big improvement for him, down from 4.68. I mean, 4.100s, that's good. That's a start. I would think he'll run another chance here because it makes sense. He was the offensive team MVP, Jawan. Remember, he's coming out after 2 years and 2 very productive years.
Right. I mean, people know he's got the balance, he's got the vision, he's got the quickness. He just wants to show a good 40 time.
This is DC Jefferson, and this is important because of the injury suffered at the combine. He's got to do something here. It doesn't look like he runs very fast.
But he's got that long stride. He's got those long legs. Big fella coming at you. Like you said, he catches a pass, and he's in the secondary. Watch out.
Greg Schiano once thought that he could be an offensive left tackle in the NFL. We know he came to Rutgers as a quarterback. His time, 4.90. He ended up as a tight end and never really got to show everything he had. Here's Brandon Jones.
Look at lightning.
Look at Brandon Jones. And if the face indicates how fast you're running and how much effort you're putting in,
he's been
he
working.
put on a pretty good show
Yeah,
there.
he's been working. He helped himself.
4.47.
You know what? Brandon Jones going to get some phone calls now. I think there's a lot of people excited about him as a sleeper. He's no sleeper to us, but outside of the state of Rutgers, there's some teams that are going to definitely give a look to Brandon Jones.
39 tackles in 2011, 31 tackles this year, including 5 interceptions, too. He had a big year for the Scarlet Knights. And now Mason Robinson. Now remember, Robinson was the state champion 100 meters at Somerville High School. He won the meet of champions in a 10.51 performance. He's had great 100 and 200 times over the years, and now he's back to what he used to do.
And he played every position I think you can play at Rutgers. So, he's an interesting guy. Where he winds up on the next level, he can play a number of positions.
He's also been here for 6 years.
That's right.
And there's Mason Robinson. There's a straight runner. You can just see he's a straight blazer. And let's see, this time I would expect to be under 4.5 also.
And Kyle Flood gave him a lot of credit. His leadership, he was like a player coach for them last season. And very important for Kyle Flood under his first year.
4.35. So he really hit the clocks impressively. 4.35.
Is that? Wow, I'm shocked by that.
He's a speed demon. Up next, you've got Logan Ryan.
Nope, Wayne Warren.
Logan's not running here, I don't believe.
Wayne Warren's up next.
Wayne Warren.
He got off to a tough start. They'll try it again.
So Ryan is not competing, and neither is Scott Vallone, who tweaked a hamstring. So we go right to Wayne Warren from Salisbury, Maryland. Named Rutgers Special Teams MVP this year at the team banquet.
Another guy always around the football, Bruce.
50 tackles last 2 years. And Warren's another guy who's versatile, was part of the nickel package, the dime package, free safety, can play a little corner. You remember the block punt against Pittsburgh back in 2010? It was returned for a touchdown by whom? He ended up with the New York Giants. Do you remember who it was as a member of their practice squad? Brandon Bing. Very good.
Another track guy.
4.52 for Wayne Warren.
Now Tim Wright, who needs a good time. Tim Wright can really help himself because, again, his versatility has the scouts drooling right now. And if he can get off to a good 40 time here, he will solidify a little bit of what they're thinking about him on the next level. A guy who can be a possession receiver with those big hands.
50 career catches for the 22-year-old criminal justice major from Wall Township, New Jersey. He was a team captain. That talks about the respect that his teammates have for him because they're the ones doing the voting.
And he has a great attitude. He has a smile. It's very infectious.
And he's not small, you know, as a wideout. He's 6'4".
He's a big wide receiver.
He's angular.
He's a tweener, and that's okay.
So it's 4.61. 4.61 for Tim. Not bad. Remember, he's not a little guy that's blazing down there.
You've got to think that somebody is looking at that 4.61 and saying, okay, I can work with that. Just give me, just like you said, give me that 10 to 15 yard burst. Get in the middle of the field, make yourself a target for my quarterback, and catch the football. And he makes a long career for himself.
So Steve Boharnis' last run, 4.84 at the combine, 4.60 here in his first run. I would guess this one will be somewhere in the middle.
Another leader, good character guy.
He looks good again. But I don't know if he's going to hit that 4.60 again. I would think somewhere in the 4.65 to 4.70 range. That would just be my guess.
Steve Boharnis, you know, the scouts look at him and they love his instincts. They love his performance on the field. They like the way he's around the football. So, again, that's another thing that you said about Coughlin. That first 10 yards is important for him.
4.66, so just what we thought. Not as good as the first one, still quite a bit better
but still
than the combine.
Very good.
And now Marvin Booker.
Another guy whose best football could be ahead of him.
Had that big fumble against Army this year in the 28-7 win.
Turn that game around.
Booker looks like he spent plenty of time in the weight room.
Yeah, I think Coach Cole's been pleased with his work.
he's part of that Piscataway High School pipeline.
That's right.
Brandon Redkert, Anthony Davis.
Right, Mr. Barnwell now coming down.
It's a good group.
And they do a great job there, too, obviously, of putting out pros and great college football players in that high school.
4.72 for Booker, so he goes 4.69, 4.72. Here's Marcus Cooper, who had a 4.43 in his first try. He's tested very well. He's going to get a look, you would think. He did very nicely in the broad jump. He's still got some other individual drills to do.
Why not? Tall corners are in demand. There's only a few people, you know, coming out of college with that height that can run that fast, and he's one of them.
Remember that block punt against Louisville in 2011? He scored a TD and an Ohio fumble and a punt return. He does a little bit of everything. And there's 4.47, so the times have been a little slower, but still for Cooper, 4.43 and 4.47, two very good showings.
And how valuable was R.J. Dill to this Rutgers football team coming in this year, solidifying that right tackle position for Rutgers, strengthening that offensive line, and becoming a leader to the younger offensive linemen. And
they found out last year that he was transferring in how? Via Twitter. That's why I've got to get you on there. He was awarded the David Bender Trophy at the RU banquet as a top offensive lineman. He helped that offensive line run for 1,578 yards this year, and they only allowed 11 sacks. That's good stuff.
I'm not a fan of Twitter. I'll only get myself in trouble, Bruce.
Yes, I agree. Khalil Glaude is up next, 4.72 in his first run of the day. Here's a guy who could afford to really just get under 4.70. I think it will help him.
Coach Panagos did a great job with him, and a big fan of his, just what he brought day in and day out, not just on the football field, but in the practice field. Practiced hard every day. You need guys like that.
He had 6 tackles and a forced fumble against USF, 5 tackles in the Russell Athletic Bowl. So he made his presence felt. And he's versatile. He went from linebacker to defensive end.
If he can show that his instincts reacting have improved, he can get a real good look on the next level.
4.70, so he did improve. And as we look at Kasim Green, again, this is an important time for Kasim. 4.61 in his first 40 of the day. 4.71 at the Combine.
Is there a nicer kid than Kasim Green that you've been around the Rutgers football program? And there's been a lot of good ones, but boy, is this kid special, isn't he?
I saw him balking at becoming a linebacker just initially, right?
Yeah,
it took 2 days.
It took 2 days, and then he realized it was the greatest thing that ever happened to him.
Here he goes. Can Green get that time down even better? I don't know. It didn't look like it. It didn't look like he had the same explosion. He had 4.61 in the first one.
Doesn't that say a lot about his character, though? That obviously at the onset he wasn't too happy, but then he accepted the challenge and he became a great linebacker at Rutgers. I mean, it just tells you all you need to know about Kasim Green.
So 4.61 again. So Kasim Green definitely helps his stock, going from 4.71 to 4.61 on both attempts. And that was 10th among linebackers at the Combine. Now that probably moves him into 7th or 6th.
The thing I think that Kasim wanted to show, not only his speed, but he wanted to show that he could put on the weight, because I think he wants to be more versatile. 3-4 defense, 4-3 defense, whatever he plays, he wants to show that he can play in both systems.
He's not going to look as good in a tank top this summer, but I still think he's going to be wearing the weight of that position. Now Duron Harmon with a 4.45 in his first 40 of the day. Hope you're enjoying this action live on Our Vision. Bruce Beck and Anthony Facili with you. Duron Harmon in the 40, coming off the 4.45.
One thing about Harmon, too, he's got good ball instincts, and when he is around the football, he usually catches it, which is a good trait to have as a defensive back.
4.58, so not quite as good as the first one, but still 2 solid times, 4.45 and 4.58. Here's Jawan Jamison.
And this drill kind of is unfair for Jawan because he makes his money in spinning, running side to side, stopping on a dime, making people miss.
Was that the spin move against USF that's still being played back? It was a 41-yard touchdown.
The defense is still looking for him, Bruce.
He had a school record 41 rushes in that game for 151 yards.
He is. He'll make you miss, and that's a compliment. He will make you miss.
Had 1,075 yards during this season, as far as rushing is concerned. He became a pretty good pass catcher too. He had 36 grabs, which shows that he can play out of the backfield.
Absolutely, in space. In space, if he gets the ball, he can be dangerous, and it's important for him in this pro day for Rutgers just to show that he's working hard. That's what the scouts want to see with Jawan, that he's working hard. They know he's talented. Just want to see he's putting the work in.
Well, he went from 4.68 at the Combine to 4.64 in his first run to 4.60 there.
I'm going to give you a guy that DC could be on the next level that you know very well. If he becomes a Howard Cross type, he'll play a long time in the NFL. A guy who could block, was a tight end, was a physical specimen, made a long career for himself.
Does that mean he'll eventually be one of my color commentators?
There you go. You know, DC could do it. He's got a good personality.
I think DC's a guy who's got so much in front of him.
And it's important for him to get out today, coming off of that pectoral muscle injury at the Combine, just to come back and show people how quickly he recovered and that he's a competitor. He wanted to be out here again today and improve himself.
That was 4.96, coming off the 4.90 for the avid bass fisherman. Here's Brandon Jones, coming off a 4.47. That might have been even better.
I think Brandon really helped himself today. I really do. I think, you know, a lot of people here got the press clippings, and they deserved it. But Brandon Jones is somebody who flew under the radar that I think is going to really impress an NFL football team.
4.48. So he had a 4.47 and a 4.48 today.
Terrific, terrific, Bruce, because if you combine his playmaking ability and now the athleticism, you have a very special football player there.
Now, is this Mason Robinson up next? hold on to your hat. He had a 4.35 in his first attempt. Let's see if he can do it again. His best 100 time was 10.97. His best 200, 21.95 at Somerville High School, the New Jersey State track champion, and now trying to use those track skills to get himself in the NFL. Combine that with his football ability and his versatility.
And his hands. He's a steady player who I don't think he's ever saw a punt he didn't want to catch. And a very important trait, not to let that ball roll and get a bad bounce, and all of a sudden you're in a hole. He came up and caught a lot of balls this year for Rutgers.
That was a 4.41 coming off the 4.35. Good stuff from Mason Robinson. Here's Wayne Warren.
Another one of those special teams demons.
Warren from Wicomico High School in Salisbury, Maryland, an information technology and informatics major. 4.66 following the 4.52 first run.
Warren had a big day, I remember, at Yankee Stadium against Army. Big special teams play.
And here's Tim Wright. And you're right. You look at this guy, you say, what position does he play? He could play a number of positions, but he's a wideout.
Again, someone said a comparison to a Marcus Colston who came out of Hofstra. No one knew who he was, and all of a sudden has been a tremendous target for Breeze in the NFL. I'm telling you, Tim Wright, if he's consistent and healthy, he could shock some people.
4.61 was his first 40 of the day, and Tim Wright again getting after it. The team captain this year, who caught 39 passes for 449 yards, and he improved 4.58.
So the team barber did his work, and it's getting better.
He cut an excellent time
there. There you go.
4.58 for the barber. Timothy Wright goes from 4.61 to 4.58. There's Tim Brown, a former Rutgers player, and part of the beauty of this program is the fact that players that competed at Rutgers that go on elsewhere or want to get another chance as a free agent. This guy can run, by the way.
How about guys that helped Rutgers win big games?
We loved him. He was small, but
touchdown maker, Timmy Brown.
He was a diminutive one, but just a likable young man who gave it everything he had every given Saturday.
Almost made the Giants, and then went up to Canada, has had a nice career up there. But you remember, he was on that Giants preseason roster for a while.
Well, say it ain't Mo. Mohamed Sanu is coming up next. He'll be joining us live here on Our Vision. Hope you enjoyed the live coverage of the 40. Some pretty good showings by Timmy Wright. Kasim Green has to feel good about himself. Steve Boharness. You talked about a couple of others. Wayne Warren did well. Brandon Jones, impressive. Mason Robinson, good showing for the Rutgers group. Back with more from the practice bubble on Rutgers Pro Day 2013, our fourth live telecast in a moment. Welcome back to Rutgers Pro Day, everyone. I'm Bruce Beck. Hope you're enjoying it. We just brought you the 40 live. We'll keep an eye on some of the other drills throughout the day, and we'll also be talking to some former Rutgers players, and we'll be talking to Kyle Flood, the head coach of the Scarlet Knights. But right now we welcome Mohamed Sanu, and it's great to see Sanu back in town. 210 career receptions, the Rutgers and Big East all-time leader, now with the Cincinnati Bengals. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. I know the year ended prematurely for you. You were worried about that fracture. It was a stress fracture in the left foot. Have you healed, Mohamed, first of all?
I've healed very well, actually. So just looking forward to getting back out there. I've been working out a lot with my trainer, and it's about time to get back to work.
What is it like being here today to see these guys go through what so many of you guys went through?
It's a airy feeling because I was here not too long ago, and just to see it happening again, I was just like, I remember what I felt in the moment of time, running at 40 or doing that drill. And, I'm just trying to give these guys support and little tips, any chance I get.
What about your experience at Rutgers, first of all? I mean, you had an unbelievable final season, 115 grabs. The game you played in the St. Petersburg Bowl, I don't know if you did anything. I mean, you did everything in that game except carry the water bucket. I mean, one of the great performances ever. When you think about your Rutgers career, Mohamed, how proud are you?
I'm very proud to, have come to Rutgers and play such a on an amazing team, amazing, coaching staff, and amazing group of guys to be a part of. So I'm just glad that I chose Rutgers and it was the right place for me.
Now, you were playing for Coach Giano, but you knew Coach Flood. When you heard about the transition from one to the next, did you feel like the program was in very good hands?
Oh, definitely. I knew they were going to do a tremendous job this year. And, as soon as I heard the news, I called Coach and, wished him congratulations. And I told him, I hope you have a great year, and I'll be there supporting every time.
And in terms of support, what did you say to these guys today in terms of what they should be trying to do, or was there an overall message? Because Ray said something about have fun.
Right.
It's difficult to have fun when you've got to prove yourself.
Right. It's about having fun because you only go through this process once and you never go through it again. So just live in the moment, embrace it, and go out there and be relaxed.
What about your career now going forward? I mean, it's just the start. Do you feel like you've improved already just being part of that whole NFL system?
Definitely, I improved tremendously, and I still have a ways to go. And working out with Coach Urban, our receivers coach, he's a great job, and knows how to get you better, and he helps you with the little details and make sure you're doing this right, you're doing this correct, and you just make sure you're getting better each day.
You had 16 grabs, 4 touchdowns when you were out there. So, I mean, that's a pretty good percentage. I'd like you to get 80 catches and 20 touchdowns, then it would really work out. How about your development from the beginning of camp onward? How much did you improve?
I was getting better each day. I was just making sure I was just working on something different or a little minor detail, make sure my game progresses and not, take a step back.
What about the Wildcat? You tell them you still run that?
If they brought it up, I was, willing to do it.
But the important thing is, me and Anthony were talking earlier about versatility. You got to show these guys you can do anything and everything. If you could play special teams, that just adds to the things that you could do for a football team, and it might add to your wallet too.
Definitely, it shows that you're more valuable, and the team, wants you out there, most of the time if you could do a lot of different things. So you just make sure that you show the teams what you can do, and it gives you that much, valuability.
Thoughts on Rutgers going to the Big Ten?
I'm very excited because I know they're coming over to Ohio State to play, so I'm definitely have to come catch a game there.
You better.
So it's gonna be great to see those guys competing in that kind of conference and show what we have in New Jersey.
Would you have liked that opportunity?
Definitely.
I think about the New Jersey guys that have just moved up through the ladder too. Do you see this state being the type of state that can produce the quality athletes to compete with all these Big Ten programs?
Definitely. We have a lot of guys that are spread across the league from Jersey, and Jersey is a small state, but we have a lot of people that could play at a high level.
Started all 38 games at Rutgers. When you look back on those years, how do you describe those years at Rutgers?
I would say they're unforgettable and amazing because, I think about them here and there. You can't help but think about them, but it was an amazing time here.
When you think about guys like Ray being in the NFL and Anthony Davis and a multitude of others, do you guys have that camaraderie among yourselves when you see each other at an event like today?
Oh, definitely. It's like we never left, We're still brothers to this day, and we always keep in touch and make sure whenever we play against each other, see each other, we talk before and after the game.
What is your philosophy in terms of giving back to the community? Because you've always been a guy that has cared about others, and you've always contributed in a positive note, in a positive way.
Whenever, I could, touch somebody or, just give insight to somebody, I try the best I can to help that person out. Because that's just how I am, that's my nature, and I just try to give back in any way possible.
So are you still working even now? Like, is this is the off season, but I know Sanu, and you're always in good shape.
Mm-hmm. I always work out. I just can't stop. I don't know what's in me. It's just the way I'm wired.
All right, and finally, what's your message to Rutgers fans who love to watch you perform here on the stage and now are rooting for your Bengals, except if they're playing against their favorite team,
If you don't have NFL package or NFL ticket, you better get it because it's going to be an exciting year.
Mohamed Sanu, man, he had a great career at Rutgers and now just starting a second career with the Cincinnati Bengals, third-round pick, number 83 overall when he was selected in 2012. Mo, wish you the best of luck. I'm glad you're healthy, and I know this is going to be a huge season for you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Good to be with you. We'll take a short break. Much more coming up here on Rutgers Pro Day 2013 at the Bubble on the campus of Rutgers University on the banks of the old Raritan. Don't go away. Rutgers Pro Day rolls on here at the Bubble in Piscataway. We're joined by Kevin Malice, another one of those former Rutgers stars, played from 2005 to 2008. 4 years in the NFL, now a free agent, and good enough to join us to talk a little bit about Pro Day, the Rutgers experience in the NFL in general. First of all, how good, Kevin, was your Pro Day when you were here?
My Pro Day was pretty good. Ton of talent. Yeah, Jason McCourty, Kenny Britt, all those guys, and obviously a very important day.
How about for you personally? Do you remember the feelings you had coming in here? Because you're pretty intense.
So much anxiety. I was definitely ready to roll, but I was just real anxious to get out here. I know it was a very important day because I wasn't invited to the Combine, but luckily Rutgers and how well we're doing, we draw a lot of scouts here, and I knew it was an important day.
You were a senior captain at Rutgers, 207 tackles in your career, 101 tackles as a senior. You played the game with such intensity and ferocity. Have you carried that with you your whole life?
Absolutely, absolutely. I have to. I think that's how I make my name, and that's what keeps me around the NFL.
Where do you think you might end up here? I mean, you've played for the Bears, you've played for the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where do you think you might end up? Are you excited about the prospects?
Absolutely. I'm anxious to re-sign back in Tennessee. Would be nice. I'm very comfortable there, and plus Chet Parfecchio just got the linebacker job with a guy from Elizabeth High School, and I'd like to end up there, but who knows? Maybe Tampa. You never know.
I love covering Chet Parfecchio. Actually, at Seton Hall Prep, he played for the legendary Tony Verducci, and then I followed his career when he went to Penn State. So one of my all-time favorites. And talk about intensity. No wonder where you got some of that stuff, right?
Absolutely. He was the assistant special teams coach down there in Nashville, and really gets those guys going. Real intense. My kind of coach.
What about the Rutgers experience for you now that you're looking back? You were a part of a period where Rutgers went from really a team that never made it to a bowl game to a team that made it every year. What was it like to be a part of that nucleus that went through the process?
I always tell people I came to Rutgers at the best time to come. You know, my freshman year we go to the Insight Bowl and play Arizona State, first bowl in a long time. And it was very special. And it's very special to come back now and see old faces and hang out and support the guys who maybe followed us coming up.
And to think of that team that went 11-2, that spectacular night here against Louisville, a night we'll never forget. I mean, that was the night that changed Rutgers football forever.
Absolutely. My sophomore year, I still have conversations with teams I go to. They remember that game. Other players from other teams, they were like, hey, were you in that Louisville game that Thursday night? I was like, yeah, absolutely. Unbelievable experience.
Now, you spent a lot of time in the weight room. Jay Butler used to kick your you-know-what, and you took it seriously. You made the commitment. These guys who are performing today, a lot of them have worked out really hard since the Combine. The other ones that didn't go to the Combine, you can see the work that they're putting in, and it's a lot about what you do in the weight room, isn't it?
Absolutely. I was one guy who understood what gives me my opportunities is how hard I work in the weight room, and that is ultimately what gives you the chance to succeed.
You were a free agent signee, and a lot of these guys are not going to be drafted. How do you have to deal with it, when you go through the disappointment of not being selected?
Honestly, you just have to keep giving everything you have. Keep giving yourself opportunity and chances. If you have a good pro day today, that gives you a chance to become a free agent or to get signed as a draft pick. And then from there, you got to take advantage of your opportunities there in mini camps and workouts. You just got to take it one day at a time and just honestly just give it all you can.
What did you have to prove? It wasn't really your size. Was it your speed that they were worried about?
I think it was speed, agility, linebacking drills and stuff like that. And I was happy to come out here and I do my best.
But as a linebacker at Rutgers, you went from sideline to sideline, so they knew that you could cover turf, but they still have questions?
That's just the way it is. Some guys are higher ranked, some guys are lower ranked. You just gotta, whoever you are, you gotta know who you are and just do your best.
Now, speaking of strength, you actually were the strength coach for the Rutgers wrestling team. back in 2012. What was that experience like?
It was very cool, very cool. I mean, I love strength and conditioning. Obviously, I learned a lot from Jay Butler and now Jeremy Cole.
So this was after the football season?
Yeah, absolutely. I came home and worked with Scott Goodale when I came in the offseason of last year. Yeah, and worked with Scott Goodale and the rest on the team, and those guys worked hard for me, and it was really fun. It was actually a different experience doing it from the coaching aspect and being from the player. Because the player, you worry about yourself and maybe the guys you're working out with, but now you got to oversee a whole team. It's a little different.
So instead of being selfish, you were able to give back and show these people something. Do you think you could be a coach someday?
Absolutely. I think I can. I love the strength and conditioning aspect, and I also love the football aspect. In either or, I think I can coach either.
Now, you're a Manchester, New Jersey product, so people know that you're homegrown. Do you think Rutgers' commitment to this state, we've seen the improvements already. Do you think it's continuing in the right regard?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you look around, you see Rutgers bumper stickers everywhere, Rutgers jerseys. You know, it's just it's very exciting to be a Rutgers fan and a Rutgers player now.
Greg used to always talk about this Rutgers family, and everyone I've talked to today, whether it was Ray or Muhammad or you, seems to love the Rutgers experience and embodies what you want from a student athlete.
Absolutely.
How did that all come about?
It's just a commitment to the program in general. You're a fan, you commit, you know, and you're with us through the hard times and the great times that we're going through now. And as a player here personally, I made some of my best friends on this team. Like, not just great teammates, but they were unbelievable friends to me. And if you look around all the charity work we do, we all go to each other's charities and we support each other. And that's just something special. I know you don't see that at every college nowadays.
Great work, and we want to see you in the NFL soon, and we wish you the best for this season. And we know you've got a bright career ahead of you, Kevin.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Kevin Malice, New Jersey's own, Manchester, homegrown, great linebacker for the Scarlet Knights, 4 years in the NFL, and hopefully many more. And we hope to have much more for you when we come back to Rutgers Pro Day in just a moment. Rutgers Pro Day, the 2013 version, the fourth live telecast here emanating at Rutgers University, and we hope you're enjoying it. We finished the 40 a short time ago. I'm Bruce Beck. Welcome back, everyone, on Our Vision. Anthony Fusilli is by my side. We enjoyed watching the 40. We saw some great times, Anthony, and as they do two drills right now concurrently. One is called the 20-yard shuttle. It's known as 5-10-5, and also the 3-cone drill. Here's the results from the 40-yard dash, and what sticks out in your mind?
Well, obviously, some great times, a lot of improvement on today. You look at Cooper, I mean, that's going to help him a lot. You look at obviously Harmon, 4.58. I think that's going to also help him.
And the fact that Kasim Green, Anthony, went from 4.71 to 4.61 is a good improvement for him.
And look at Brandon Jones, consistency, flat-out speed from Mason Robinson. So I think guys had to be a little bit happy. I spoke to Kaz and wasn't happy with his time. I thought it was a good time. You thought it was a good time. But that just goes to show you, he's never satisfied. He wants more. He wanted to make it even lower. And I like that. And I told him, I said, you know what? You're a versatile guy. He goes, I put the weight on to show people that I can be a 3.4, a 4.3. That's what I'm going to have to do. But I can still run fast. Well, I said, you proved that today. He goes, but I'm always looking to get faster.
That's great stuff. Steve Boharness went from 4.84 to 4.66 to 4.60. He's got to be really happy.
Yes. You know, and Steve, again, his work has been done on the football field, a leader here. You know, the middle linebacker, making sure people are in the right assignments. And then he came here today and built on that season, that career that he had at Rutgers. Hats off to him. And let me just say this, too. A lot of hard work being done here today, Bruce, but no harder work than look at the guys and the ladies behind the scenes here. This is a tough deal today, putting on this broadcast. Then you got Drew Robinson there in the corner doing all directing, Jason Baum. So some hard work being done here today.
And it really is our family in that regard, because what you're seeing is effort to help promote the program and to give these young student athletes a chance to make a living in the NFL on a Sunday, which is a pretty good living. And we saw Jawan Jameson, a youngster who's only played 2 years at Rutgers, go from 4.68 to 4.64 to 4.60 in his 40. So a good showing by Jameson as well. So these two drills, the 20-yard shuttle going on right now, it's the first of the cone drills. It's 5-10-5. It tests an athlete's lateral quickness and explosion in short areas. And the 3-cone drill tests an athlete's ability to change directions at high speed and the 3 cones are in an L shape. This is very much what a linebacker would do anyway. So these drills, I think, tell you something.
These are football drills.
Yeah, these are football drills. And it's interesting because Bo Harness did great in these drills. The only one he didn't do really well in was the 40, but he made up for it today.
And the 40 is not a football drill. This is a football drill. This is a bread and butter drill. You want to see if he's stiff, if he can move side to side, and how he goes back, forward. And Stevie does those things very well. Now, again, as you said, Coach Coughlin looks at the first 10 yards. That's why it's important for certain players not to get too carried away with their 40 times.
Hey, in this 20-yard shuttle, Brandon Jones, one of the guys that you want to see do well and felt like at the beginning of the day could do extremely well, 3.96. So he had a great time here again. And Marvin Booker excelled. Remember, you're comparing Booker to guys his size. You're not comparing him to Brandon Jones.
No, absolutely.
So they both did well. Does it surprise you that either of those two guys excelled in a drill like this, which tests an athlete's lateral quickness and explosion?
It doesn't surprise me for a guy like Cooper, but it does a little bit for Booker. He's so big and so strong that you don't just look at him and think he can show that lateral movement, and that's a good job by him today.
There's big Scott Vallone, who had a little bit of a tweaked hamstring, so that hurt his activity today.
How about Scott Vallone and the sacrifice and the production that he did here at Rutgers football over his career, going from the 3 technique to the nose guard position, wherever you needed him. He played every game. Good weather, bad weather. Scott Vallone was always somebody you could count on, and you could just hope that a guy like him, again, finds himself in the right system, because he's going to show those qualities at the next level.
And the last drill today will be that 60-yard shuttle, which is 5 yards, 5 yards, 10, 10, 15, 15. It's another one that...
I'm getting exhausted just listening to it.
It's trying to look at a guy and trying to gauge how he's going to perform on the football field. They're doing all these drills on a football field, but I think they're looking for more and more research, more and more evidence, more and more for quantitative stuff that they can look at numbers and say, well, this guy excelled doing that drill. If he does well in everything, he's going to get picked in the first round if he's that good. But some of these guys move up.
Sometimes guys come in here, scouts, and they like a player, and they just need.
They want to confirm it, don't they?
They want to confirm it. They want to make sure that there's something there that's not missing or glaring, that this guy can't do this or do that. So basically, they just got to come here and not bomb, Bruce. They just got to show that they're making improvement.
Hey, can we talk about the 2013 schedule for a moment? It opens with Fresno State on the road, has a nice ring to it. It's the first time that an SEC opponent will play here on campus. That's Arkansas. And then you've got teams like Houston for the first time. It's going to be kind of an interesting season.
It's the longest season in Rutgers football history. I love it because it's more weeks of Rutgers football, but boy, is it a long season. It's almost like a professional schedule now.
And it's different because it's a transitional season before the Big Ten slate comes about. So you've got teams like Houston on there and SMU.
A trip down to Dallas. I mean, there's some really nice places that Rutgers football players will go to.
And you've got 2 ESPN games, October 10th at Louisville, UCF on November 21st, and ending the season with South Florida, which could be an ABC, ESPN, or ESPN2 game. Here's those results now for the 20-yard shuttle. And again, you're looking for the lowest score. And I'm impressed with Marvin Booker. Steve Boharness improved from the combine.
Look at Cos Green. 4.20.
And again, Cos's
and let me tell you something about Khalil Glaude too. What somebody told me, his toughness, and we don't talk about that word a lot, but that's how you describe a football player. His toughness will stand out on the next level.
Mason Robinson has performed well today, and we thought he would because of his track background and his athleticism.
Absolutely. Mason, obviously good hands, just wants to show people that he is healthy and that he can find a position on the next level and be successful at.
And Wayne Warren also, and I think he's a guy that's an athlete. We've got a lot of guys, especially in the defensive side, who are athletes. And here's Marvin Booker. I like Booker. I think Booker's just shown that he's so intense and so interested here today, and he's got some quickness and speed for his size.
And he's physical. And remember, if you're physical, people are going to look at you. And that's a big thing for him today to show that he's an athlete also, because he is physical.
Let's take a look at Cooper now. He'll be next up in this shuttle. And again, I think he's a guy who might really improve his stock today. Here's Marcus. 3-cone drill for Marcus Cooper from Bloomfield, Connecticut, 23 years of age. 6'2", 190, yep.
And a little slip there, so he'll do it again. Cooper's an interesting next level type player because he can be a special teams player for you. He's got the height, he's got speed, he has cover skills. He really has to show NFL teams that he's not afraid to put his nose in there and tackle. And if he shows them that, I think he could be successful.
Here's R.J. Dill and the University of Maryland transfer, gutting it out here. He was sweating when he walked into this place. You know that?
You know, R.J. Dill really did a lot here for the younger offensive linemen for Rutgers in the future. I think him being around this program for a year, he really showed guys how they have to get better and how they should go at their work. And I think Kyle Flood really appreciated that this year.
Here's Khalil Glaude, 6'2", 230 pounds, defensive end. A guy who I think could play a bunch of different positions in the NFL.
You know, Khalil Glaude.
I like that. Pretty good showing by Khalil.
Khalil Glaude has a motivational gift. He's a guy who gets you excited if you're playing with him. He'll run through a brick wall for you. And I think he's the kind of guy that one day down the road, Bruce, when he's done playing football, could even be a guy who you could see coaching. Definitely that kind of discipline and that kind of attitude.
Booker went 6'9" in a 3-cone drill. The best performance at the Combine was Logan Ryan, 6.69. He was second among cornerbacks. He will not be participating in that drill today.
I think Logan just wanted to take that time and send that out on his resume and said, here's my film, here's how I cover receivers, and now let's see if you like me or not.
Booker's time was 6.89, which was very good. And Dill was 7.97. Here's Khalil Glaude back in the box. 5. Oh, there it was. Sometimes tough to get a handle here on that turf.
You know, Khalil's also got the ability to come off the edge and rush the passer, which I think teams are going to like about him. Let's face it, Bruce, if you can go after the quarterback, somebody will find a place for you on their football team. And he's a guy that could be looked at that position.
So Glaude will try again, the Paul Robeson Award winner at the team banquet. Give it to the player whose performance, leadership, and dedication on and off the gridiron had the greatest impact on Rutgers football.
And how about the whole story that he chose Rutgers on a coin flip over West Virginia? You know, I really don't believe that. I think he would have kept tossing the coin until it came up heads for Rutgers.
He gets a good round of applause here as he finishes right by us with super effort. So after he got his footing.
There's a scout, former RU Mr. Mitchell there, coming back. Jason Mitchell, who's now a scout with the New Orleans Saints. Rutgers has, you know, they don't only have guys coaching in the NFL and playing in the NFL, they got guys scouting in the NFL too, Bruce.
Here's Deron Harmon. Glaude was 6'7", that's the best time for a player today here, as Deron Harmon looks to better that. I think he might have gotten his edge on that last cone. Yeah, he'll get another chance. Deron Harmon, the Team Scholar Athlete Award at the RU banquet.
Let's not lose sight that there's a very nerve-wracking day for these kids coming down here, trying to fulfill a dream, you know, a tryout. This is a resume. This is an interview for obviously working professionally at their occupation here, Bruce. It's a nerve-wracking day for them, but I think they've shown that they can handle the pressure.
And a lot of the guys that we talked to, Ray Rice and Kevin Mallist and Mohamed Sanu, talked about these guys should just try to have fun, but it's not easy because there's so much on the line. Good clean start. Let's see if he gets around that cone. He does. And a good clean run.
Gonna help him. I think he'd have to be happy with that last one.
Looks like he might have tweaked something there. He put so much into it.
You're moving in so many different directions.
I know. This is Jawan now. This is Jawan, you know, the lightning running back who he's not as fast as he looks, you know, his actual numbers. But when you watch him on a football field, he is fast, or should I say he is quick.
You know, I'm in no way comparing him to this next person, but the joke when Emmitt Smith came out of college was he didn't run fast enough until one college coach said, yeah, but I don't see anybody catching from behind. So, you know, Jawan is that kind of player. He doesn't have that breakaway speed, but yet he's fast enough to break away for touchdowns.
You know who was great in this drill? Ray Rice. And here's Jamison now. That's a spin move. Wasn't that the one that we saw against South Florida?
Absolutely.
You think about him starting his year this year with 6 straight 100-yard rushing games. Got off to a marvelous start. Finished the year with 1,075 yards rushing.
Got a little bit of banged up. He's got to show people that, you know, he can stay healthy, because obviously, as you said, a compact type kid, you know, wear and tear is going to be an issue. But he's got to show that he's worked hard and he's be able to put that behind him.
Here's D.C. Jefferson, the tight end out of Winter Haven, Florida.
Long reach.
7.28 was the time for Jamison, and here's DC, who has the big stride.
I think he did good in that last drill. I think he showed a little bit of quickness, which, you know, some teams are going to want to see from him, obviously, at the tight end position. Just be able to separate a little bit from a linebacker.
Harmon was 6.86 in his actual time. And now Brandon Jones. Let's see the way he goes around this cone. Nope, lost a little footing and lost it again. So this area that they're working on for this drill right now, the footing is definitely hurting some of the players.
He changed up his sneakers too. He had the yellow gold ones. He changed them up for that drill.
Why not? Brandon Jones, we really look at the young man. He's 23 years of age, a labor studies major from Sicklerville, New Jersey. Had some very good times in the 40. And a guy who does a little bit of everything, returning punts.
Juice.
Playing a little defense with abandon.
Nickname was Juice, and boy did he bring a lot of juice to this Rutgers football program in his career, Bruce.
Now this guy you can call a speedster, right? Mason Robinson?
Absolutely, a track guy.
But this is a little bit of a different drill. This is burst. 7.19 for Jefferson. Not bad, 7.19 for Jefferson. Here's Robinson. Going well so far. Oh, he lost it again.
There. Everybody's having problems around that cone. Everybody check for some grease or something in that area.
No, it's sometimes what happens on this field.
It's a little slick.
Remember, there's all those little pieces of rubber.
That's right.
Inside, and it's very, very tricky. So I look over to my right, and I see Mike Teal throwing passes to Mike McMahon. I mean, 2 guys who played in the NFL.
Yes.
I thought that was Mike earlier. I didn't say hello to him, but I did cover Mike quite a bit. And these are 2 quarterbacks. By the way, McMahon is throwing the ball much harder than Teal right now, and I'm going to talk to Teal about that later.
Well, Teal told me, because he's a little bit older now, it takes him a little longer to warm up. So he said he needs a little bit of warming up first, but then he says he'll be back into his old throwing motion.
There was a little bit of a cleaner run there, so that's part of the fun of Pro Day, to see 2 old signal callers throwing passes.
2 outstanding old signal callers for this program.
Rutgers,
very talented guys.
Rutgers, there they are. There's Mike McMahon, played for the Detroit Lions.
And Mike McMahon is obviously a lesson to Rutgers football players that you threw out there a few minutes ago. A guy who got better on the next level. And remember, you can only do so much in college, but it doesn't end there. And McMahon had a very nice career for himself on the next level.
And the guy that was receiving those passes was Mike Teal, who had an outstanding career at Rutgers.
All-time leading passer.
Put that little image in your head. The 2 of them are going over mechanics right now, years later after the fact.
I know one thing. If I'm Gary Nova, I'm spending a lot of time in that corner today picking the brains of those 2 guys.
And you saw a lot of Gary Nova this year, and I know that you've got a lot of confidence in him going forward.
I do, and I think that Gary, as long as he puts the work in, that Gary will continually get better and better from his sophomore year to his junior year. And, you know, one thing about Rutgers, you know, we want to see a quarterback with some experience for a change. They've been such young guys in the program over the last couple of years, having to face the pressure that they're going to face every Saturday.
Hey, by the way, Brandon Jones just turned in a 6.54 The best time at the combine for the 3-cone drill was Will Davis of Utah State.
Wow.
So he is only 2/100ths off of the best time at the entire combine. And Logan Ryan, who was second at the combine, had a 6.69. So you're talking about Brandon Jones off the charts right now in this 3-cone drill.
That's why I said coming in here, he was a name I was hearing that had scouts excited and said, hey, if he can come here and have a good day, it kind of back up, solidify what they've been hearing about him.
So this 3-cone drill really looks at the change of directions at high speed.
Because let's face it, Bruce, they see film of a kid, they start to think, hey, I mean, if this guy could help us, they want to put a person that they see in person, they want to put that to the film. And they come down here, they see Juice Jones do what he does today, and they go back and they go to their GM, I got a diamond in the rough for you.
And the day started early. They want to see him in the weight room. They want to look at the height and the weight and the arm and the hand measurement. They do the sit and reach and the bench press early in the day. The scouts meet with Coach Flood and his staff, which is assistant coaches, the head strength coach, the head trainer. They do all that stuff in the morning, following a breakfast for the scouts and the staff. And the underclassmen also, they have an ability here to be involved. They have their height and weight, marked down. That's all they really do. And then they have the players with the 1 and 2 years of eligibility left. So these guys get a sampling now, a little idea of who they might see in the future.
And trust me, the players in this program right now are doing a lot of sampling today. They're over on the sidelines just watching, getting a feel for it, dreaming, knowing that they got to go and put in the work next year for Rutgers football, and they too could have this opportunity today. And what a recruiting tool, Bruce, for Rutgers football. I mean, you look at today and you say, wow, the talent in this dome, the talent in this bubble, and the fact that now Rutgers is a destination not only to make it to the NFL, but to get drafted in the NFL. That has come a long way because the days of just free agency are over. Rutgers football players are being drafted now at a high rate.
In 2011, 1 third-round pick. In 2010, 2 first picks. And a 7th-round pick. In 2009, a first-round pick, 5 overall. In 2008, Ray Rice coming out in the 2nd round. Jeremy Zuta in the 3rd round. 2007,
which I'm
Brian
still
Leonard.
Upset about. There's no way Zuta's a 3rd round. There's no way Rice is 2nd round.
2007, 3 overall, including Brian Leonard in the 2nd round. So if you look in the last 10 years, 3 number 1s, 3 number 2s, 2 number 3s, and you've got the school record 2 first-round picks in 2010.
And we could have a banner year this year.
I figured 17 in the last 10 years, 17 drafted players, and a multitude of others that we talked about, 38 others that signed as free agents. So you're talking about 55 guys there.
It's funny. I get a kick out of it. You and I, we know that there are a lot of players from Rutgers in the NFL. But when we travel around and you hear people say, hey, Rutgers has a lot of guys in the NFL.
Years ago, it was, we'd be talking about UCLA or we'd be talking about Alabama or talking about Michigan. Now it's how often do you hear in the introduction on the broadcast a guy is from Rutgers.
How about the fact that Rutgers had more players in the combine than Ohio State did? I mean, it just sums it up right there.
And when you talk about the Super Bowl, you had Alex Silvestro, you had Ray Rice. So 6 times in the last 8 years, you've got guys who have been in the Super Bowl and Super Bowl champions. Of course, Sean O'Hara can talk about that whole thing as well. Here's the 20-yard shuttle, and these are the final times for the 20-yard shuttle.
How about Scott Vallone did pretty good there, 4.41?
3.84 is the barometer that was best at the combine. B.W. Webb of William & Mary, he's a cornerback. So if you see anything under 4, you've got to be really impressed. And Brandon Jones and Mason Robinson both were under 4. And you're right, Vallone for a big guy did pretty well.
You want to see that.
He was actually better in this drill than Jawan Jamison.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what? If you watch Scott chase runners, ball carriers down, you believe it.
I don't think he's going to catch Jawan on the field on a normal day.
But he'll catch him from tackle to tackle, and that's all he needs to do. Be able to wrestle down those running backs, and Vallone knows how to bring down ball carriers.
All right, we'll regroup. We'll take a brief time out here at Rutgers Pro Day as we continue giving you the 2013 version, the 4th time it's been broadcast live on Our Vision. Hope you're enjoying it at home. We're coming right back. Rutgers Pro Day continues from the bubble in Piscataway right here on campus. I'm Bruce Beck. It's been a pleasure to be with you all day long, and we're joined by another former Scarlet Knight, Tyquan Underwood, who is now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, playing for his old coach, Greg Schiano. Are you already 4 years in this league?
Man, they flew by, going on my 5th, and I'm looking forward to it.
Do you think that this could be a very good year for you? It's your last year in Tampa under contract, but you came on last year, you've got your old coach, you were the 3rd receiver for this team. I mean, I got to be encouraged if I'm you.
It went very well, and hopefully I can build on top of that. And also, we have a very young team, and we're building. I think we're going to have a good year coming up if all goes well and guys continue to work hard.
And Josh Freeman as a quarterback, what do you think?
Man, I played against him when he was at Kansas State in the bowl game, and we trained together at API in Arizona. Got to know him a little bit. Great guy, strong arm, and the potential is there. And if he continues to grow, study the film, he's going to do just fine.
By the way, there's a lot of talk that Revis might end up in Tampa. What would you think of that?
Oh, man, a player of that caliber to add to your team, that's a great addition. If it happens, we'll welcome him with open arms.
Tyquan had a heck of a career for the Scarlet Knights, finished 8th on the all-time list with 132 receptions, 1,931 yards, 16 touchdowns, tied for 4th all-time, 6 100-yard games. When you think back about the Rutgers years, what comes to mind?
Man, just a bunch of great memories. Along the way, I've made some great friends, some playing in the NFL now, some not, and I'll never trade those years for anything.
And to talk about the way a body changes, you were a string bean when you first came in. I remember you going across the middle and coming out some games when you got hammered, but you've grown into your physique, so to speak, into your body. Do you think the commitment to the weight room, starting with Jay Butler for you and continuing now, you think that it's an important aspect of it?
Oh, absolutely. In high school with Coach John McKenna, and then going to Rutgers with Jay Butler has helped me tremendously. And to team back up with Jay down in Tampa has been very good. And he's helped me along the way, and one of the reasons why I am where I am today.
What was Rutgers Pro Day like for you?
Oh man, it was a thrill. As a player, you look forward to that opportunity just to impress scouts, hopefully catch someone's eye, and it's all about going after your dream.
Now, you were a 7th round pick, number 253 overall. That's close to being Mr. Irrelevant.
Yep.
But you made it and you got picked. What was it like, and were you happy, or were you disappointed that you didn't go earlier?
I was excited just to be drafted. That itself is a blessing. My family was happy, and I just was happy to get an opportunity in this league. I dreamed about it since I was a kid, and for it to become reality was a big deal to me.
Do you still think that there's great opportunity for you in the years to come?
Absolutely. I just turned 26, still young, still growing, still learning the game, and I'm just going to continue to keep working, and hopefully God will continue to bless me with opportunities, and I have to take advantage of them.
Why were you always a guy that had such respect for the game?
Because if you have respect for the game, it'll have respect for you, and I've never been disrespectful to football or to my coaches, and that goes a long way. Coaches tend to like that. If you just come in ready to work, they'll respect you as a player and as a person, and that's what I strive for.
We've talked a lot to the different guys today who are in the NFL now about the whole Rutgers experience. What did it mean to you in terms of becoming a man?
Man, coming here, Coach Schiano, that's what he said. You're going to graduate, and we're going to build you from a boy to a man, and that's what he did. It was a tough 4 years. It's hard. It's not for everybody, but if you can make it through, it really helps you as a person, as a football player.
To see the emergence of Rutgers as a national power during the time that you were here, after all of those years of frustration, to be a part of that whole process must have been very prideful.
Oh, absolutely. To lay the foundation here in my home state, I'm from New Jersey, and to just help build Rutgers program, it was fantastic.
And the fact that you were going to a bowl game each year, and now the next step, the Big Ten. What do you think for Rutgers?
Man, I'm excited about it. Moving to a new conference, going to have a conference championship game in football, and I'm very excited as an alumni, and I'm sure the guys on the team are excited as well.
Hey, you were a team captain. Did you accept that responsibility, with a lot of pride? Did you accept that responsibility, worried sometimes about all the responsibility that was involved?
Mm-hmm.
How did you approach being a team captain? Because it's not just a little title there.
Yeah.
When you're talking about a football team that emphasizes the captains, that really is something that, is very important too.
I just looked at it as being myself. Continue to work hard, lead by example, and just give the guys someone to look up to, especially the freshmen and sophomore. When you're a younger guy, you need somebody to guide you, and that's what I tried to do when I was nominated team captain.
All right, what are you going to say to the Rutgers diehards today, who are thrilled to see Tyquan back, even though his hair is higher than it was when you left? What do you want to say in terms of appreciation?
I would just say thanks for all the support when I was here at Rutgers and in my ongoing years in the NFL, and just continue to support our program. We're moving to the Big Ten, and good things are ahead.
Good luck, Tyquan, in the upcoming season. Let's hope it's a good one for you. And the Buccaneers, we kind of root for the Bucs. They're one of our surrogate teams.
Yep.
And I'll catch you on the road.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Great to have Tyquan Underwood here as part of Rutgers Pro Day. We'll take a short break. More coming up. Don't go away. Rutgers Pro Day 2013, and a lot of players definitely helped their stock. I'm Bruce Beck along with Anthony Facili, and first I want to talk about the defensive backs. Marcus Cooper, Brandon Jones, Deron Harmon. All three guys showed some versatility. They showed some pretty good numbers. Where do you think they're headed?
Well, obviously Logan Ryan came in here today knowing that he had a good combine, a good day in Indianapolis. So it was a day important for those other players, DBs, to strut their stuff, and I think all three players showed that they have the qualities that you're looking for on the next level.
And you talked about Cooper being a guy who really might be a little bit under the radar.
Absolutely. I think you can't teach height. And he has the ability to match up against some big receivers. He showed a great time today in his 40. He has good instincts. He has to show that he has the toughness. But let's face it, there are some good cover guys that don't come up often and make tackles. So there's a place for him. I'm not saying he's that kind of player, but my point is that there is a place for him on the next level because of that height and that speed.
Coming off the combine, three guys really wanted to improve their times, and they did. Kasim Green went from 4.71 to 4.61 in the 40. That's pretty good. Steve Boharness went from 4.84 to 4.60 in the 40. Big improvement there, almost a quarter of a second. And Jawan Jamison went from 4.68 to 4.60. So they'll probably pick a number somewhere in the middle in their minds, when you're talking about the teams and the scouts. But in each case, these three athletes improved.
Let's face it, Bruce, it's a build-up to April, to draft day. They came from the season, they went to the combine, all three players. They showed NFL teams some things. They came here today and they showed the NFL teams that they continue to work, they continue to get better at their craft. Neither of them, or all three of them, had bad days. So that's a good sign now moving to April to see now what NFL scouts and teams think about the work that they've put. It's all a big resume that they're putting it together.
Right.
And Ray Rice said it best. He said, today is obviously you're going to meet new people, new scouts. They're going to have doubts about you. It's a chance to prove them all wrong. It's an interview, and you're going to play, and you're going to work in a high-performing, high-paying job.
You're going to get paid later.
In a high-paying job, exactly. I like the way he said that.
One guy who really looked the part today was Marvin Booker, didn't he?
Marvin Booker, again, has unbelievable strength, unbelievable power, and he showed some athleticism today, which is going to help him.
And in terms of Mason Robinson and Tim Wright, I thought their numbers were pretty good too. Mason ended up with a 4.35 in the 40, which was unbelievable. Here's a look at the results, and a lot of these results are impressive. It's hard to gauge according to certain categories and certain disciplines, certain events, but we were trying to give you perspective all throughout what was the best time at the combine, how they did by their specific position. Mark Harrison's numbers are based on the combine that he participated in Indianapolis, not by the Rutgers Pro Day. But Anthony, these are some good performances, some good numbers. Marcus Cooper, that 39.5 on the vertical. I don't care what you're comparing that to. That's impressive, right?
You know, the thing I look at this group of players, you can make a case, Bruce, for most of these guys playing next year in the National Football League. And I think that shows the work that they did today and what they've done here during their career at Rutgers football. And you could make an argument for all of these guys making an NFL team or being drafted.
Fooch, great working with you today. We'll see you roaming the sidelines during the season, huh?
Always good to be back with you. You know that, Bruce.
All right, so we'll take a short break and we'll come back with the head coach of the Scarlet Knights, Kyle Flood, in just a moment as we close out Rutgers Pro Day 2013. Well, you can't have a Rutgers Pro Day without talking to the head coach of the Scarlet Knights. Kyle Flood has watched this whole process evolve throughout the day, and Kyle joins us right now. Good showing by your guys, and it was a tremendous atmosphere here, wasn't it?
It really is, and it's one of the more exciting days for the program, and something that in the 8 years I've been here, I've seen it evolve into, both a pro day and what becomes almost a reunion of sorts with all the NFL alumni coming back for the day and being a part of the program, introducing themselves to the younger players who maybe they haven't met before. It really is a special day all around.
Mike McMahon throwing a football to Mike Teal, the two of them on the sidelines. I mean, that's good stuff. It shows the camaraderie of the program.
It really does, and I think what it shows is the word you used is exactly right. This is not a university with a football team. It's a university with a football program, and football programs, they last across generations. And sometimes those generations are maybe just 5 years apart because these players never played together.
What does it mean to have people such as Ray Rice representing Rutgers, Kevin Malice, to Jamal Westerman, Mohamed Sanu? We talked to all of these guys on the air, and they all were so proud to have been involved in this program. Tyquan Underwood, he talked about the respect he had for Rutgers and what they learned. That's something that you've got to feel very good about.
It makes you feel great as a coach that when these players get to this point in their career, where really on a day like today, they could be anywhere. They could be working out somewhere, they could be on vacation somewhere, they could be with really anybody in the world, but they've decided to take a day out of their lives and give it back to Rutgers and be a part of our program in a significant way for one day. And it really tells you as a football coach that they're having the right experience. They're not having just a singular experience at Rutgers, they're having a well-rounded one.
I think a lot of these guys showed well, especially your defensive backs. We saw some good stuff from Mason Robinson and Tim Wright and Marvin Booker. Should he be a professional bodybuilder?
I'll tell you, Marvin is genetically superior. He's got a physique that people are envious of for sure. But it does not surprise me to hear that our secondary or our players from the secondary had a good day today because they had a good year for us. And I think this has become an extension of that. And I think the pro scouts that were here today and some of the coaches and some of maybe the GMs and assistant GMs, what they've found are players that not only are going to help them in the secondary on first and second down, but they're going to help them in the sub packages. They're going to help them on special teams, just like they did for us here at Rutgers.
Do you like the work that guys like Bo Harness did and Green and even Jawan Jameson? They improved their times from the combine to here in the 40, and that shows that they're willing to make the effort to take the next step.
I think it shows that. It shows that they're willing to make the effort, and I think it also shows that they can look at a situation, make the corrections, and then perform at a higher level. And that's really what the game of football is. They're going to have to do that when they go to training camp. They're going to have to do that when they get into the season next year. They're going to need to make the corrections early in the year and become a better player, and they've already shown that they can do that just from a combine to a pro day setting.
I can't tell you how many guys I talked about in terms of their bio, and I said all academic Big East. And the APR, which is a barometer in terms of what you're doing academically, continues to be something that Rutgers excels in. You're the top 10 for the last 5 years. Is this something that you consider to be a very important aspect, combining the athletics with the academics?
It's something that we base our program on. We want to be the class of college football, and that's not the class of college football just when we're at practice or just when we're playing games. We want to be the class of college football academically. We want to be the class of college football in terms of how we look in public, when we dress, when we go on the road, and all those things are important. It's all part of the experience, and whether it's the highest GPA last fall that we've ever had as a football team, or it's the Academic Excellence Award we won as a football team,
the spring prior to that, or it's the academic All Big East and All Americans, or the APR that has stood the test of time, that people like Jenna Beverly and Scott Walker and their staff put so much time and effort into making sure runs the right way. Those are the things that really make you the class of college football when they're combined with a high level of play.
Rutgers recruiting class for this year, 22 players, 21 from the state of Rutgers, 11 from New Jersey, 4 from Florida. You can go on and on, really named by ESPN.com, Rivals.com, and Scout.com, the highest rated in the Big East. How do you feel about this group, Kyle?
Very pleased. I'm very pleased with this recruiting class. I think we've filled some needs. I think some of these players or defensive backs that we're really excited about today, we need to find that next generation of those players, and we certainly have some on our own roster. Guys like T.J. Johnson, Grief Glashan, Lorenzo Waters, Jeremy Deering, who is now playing safety for us a little bit, or will as we get into spring practice. Those are things that are going to help replace, but you also have to have the next wave coming. And we think we've been able to get some of those players, guys like Nadir Barnwell, Anthony Chaffee, and from South Plainfield as well.
All right, so Monday, March 25th, and you're preparing for your first news conference, and then you've got Tuesday, March 26th, the first spring practice. It all culminates with the Scarlet and White game on Saturday, April 27th. What about the spring? Are you starting to get the excitement going?
The excitement is there, and we're in the middle right now of Night Week. We had our Wednesday edition of that this morning at 5:30 a.m., and we've got 2 more editions on Thursday and Friday, and then we have spring break. And then when we come back from spring break, it's time for spring practice. And that is a 5-week block of time that is critical for our program. We've got players that have to get better in all areas. We have competition at every position because we've got talented players in the program. I think that is a great time for our coaches, and we have a couple new coaches on the staff, so people in some different roles. A guy like Anthony Campanile, who comes over from defenses now and now is going to work with our wide receivers and tight ends. A guy like Matt Simon, who's going to work with our wide receivers. So we have some people in some different roles this year, even though they were with us last year. It gives them a 5-week block of time where we can hands-on coach the players, and there are so few opportunities we get outside of the season to do that. It's going to be a great 5 weeks.
The Rutgers faithful want to know one thing, though. How is this football team going to be next fall?
We've got a very talented football team, and we've got a little bit of a younger football team than we had the year before. But by the time we get ready for that first game and we get on the plane to go out to Fresno and get ready to play them on a Thursday evening, it's going to be a football team that's ready to go, and I'm excited about that.
And it starts with your quarterback, Gary Nova. Is he a guy that you feel comfortable leading this program and should take the next step?
Gary's got a great opportunity this spring to really build on an experience of a 13-game season. And I think that is there's no substitute for game experience. And I think we've got some other players at that position that are going to push him. Guys like Chase Dodd, who's won football games. A guy like Blake Rankin, a guy like Mike Bamonte, a guy like Chris Laviano, who's here for the first time this semester. These are all players that are looking to see where they fit on that depth chart, and I think they're gonna create a very competitive environment in that quarterback room and in those practices for the quarterback position.
And finally, we can't not talk about the Big Ten because it's just a year away. Is it something that people want to talk to you about when you're out there recruiting people in the community that are just Rutgers supporters? Is it something that gets you motivated and excited about?
We're definitely motivated by it. I think it's something that's important to talk about in recruiting because the players we're recruiting right now, they're going to be their home. That's where they're going to play their college careers. But when we get into spring practice and we talk to the 2013 edition of Rutgers football, we'll be talking about winning our conference championship this year because it's the only one we have the opportunity to win. And then after next season, we'll turn the page, so to speak, with our team.
Rutgers Pro Day for the 4th time on television, Kyle. This has been a lot of fun, but it's bigger than ever because to see the guys come out here today and the former Rutgers players, it's really talking about the strength of the program.
And every year it seems to be more and more guys working out, more and more scouts, more teams represented. I believe we have a representative from every team in the NFL this year for the first time, and they know what they're going to get when they take a Rutgers football player with a draft pick as a free agent on their roster. They know they're going to get a high-quality character person who knows how to do things the right way and is also an exceptional football player. Someone's going to make their team better.
Coach, thanks for joining us, and good luck as we head into spring practice.
I appreciate that, and thanks for being here today, Bruce. It's good
That's
to see you again.
That's it for Rutgers Pro Day. We've enjoyed it. We hope you have as well. Rutgers Pro Day on the banks of the Old Raritan for 2013. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great day.